just to make sure everything's cool.
Cool.
Man,
I just
Okay.
got a
hyped.
notification. Watch live now. Wakeman VGC GLDL Season 3 team
Yo,
analysis.
Awesome.
Wakeman is streaming. My favorite YouTuber is streaming. I can't believe this. Yo, I can hear myself on stream.
Please don't put yourself like on a loop.
I would never
Oh,
do
ain't
that
no
to
way,
somebody.
bruh. Why did the link it gave me not work? Why didn't it work? Hold on, it gave me a link and I copied it and it didn't work.
I wonder if I should like link it for you.
Hold on, I got it.
Oh, you got it. I see you. He just shows a picture of what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I unfortunately I don't know. Am I able to moderate my stream from my phone? I've never streamed on YouTube before. Oh, I think I need the YouTube if I get the YouTube Studio app, I think I can manage the stream.
Man,
I wonder how many copies of the stream I can open and just have a loop going
Oh gosh.
continuously.
dear Lord.
I think I would need to open them because I think if I'm only getting your like your mics right now. Or are you talking for the stream or just for yourself?
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't thought it completely through yet.
Because if I could open like 80 of them, and then it would just constantly loop on the stream itself.
Also, at some point, I'm going to have to duck. I've got a match to play.
Okay.
Whenever I get a message back, but we'll see because he hasn't messaged me back yet.
Sick. Yeah, I kind of assume that people will be ducking in and out. Sounds like Toxic, you said you might be able to be here about the whole time?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty much available for the whole time, dog.
Sick. Okay. And then I
Yo,
know...
Frog XP?
Hey, yo.
What is bro doing?
Bro, please tell me I can moderate this from my... YouTube stream moderation mobile. 2023 3202. Riveting.
Very.
Vengeance. Man, bruh, I don't know who you're getting vengeance on, dog.
Hold on.
We'll need you to share your stream at some point. Also, we can
Oh,
see
yeah.
what you're doing on Discord.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know how much I can actually change that. Cuz for some reason my computer never wants to let me just do a window capture. It only lets me do display captures.
Yes, I can see you going through your OBS settings right now. Let's
Yep.
see what he's doing wrong.
It usually just doesn't come up. Like none of these are the Chrome window. And I don't know why it does that. But I think it's cuz I'm on a Mac. Sometimes things just like don't work. Alright, well, nobody look at the mod chat. I know that there's really damning evidence in here.
For real. Quote, Toxic Crusader at 11:44 a.m. today.
What is he saying?
Yo.
Joshy doesn't think we're doing all of the divisions today.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yo. Frog XP, Ed, Rolo, Trunks, Gambit, Radial.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh no, it's a loop.
A loop?
I
What's a loop?
can
You zoomed out to your studio, which is still showing the video playing in the background,
Oh.
which is then showing the video of the studio playing in the background and just all the way in.
Okay, well, I think I'm just gonna have to do this. This is just gonna have to be scuffed. And I have the YouTube Studio app, and everything I can find says I should be able to, like, moderate stream and like see chat. Oh no, I can just open the stream like normal. I won't be able to moderate, but I can at least see chat then.
Yeah.
Genius plays.
Yo, same. I was also here before we started streaming.
I was also here.
Nice.
Hey Ed, he said Wakeman moment, dog. Not cool. I'm already getting flamed, and the analysis hasn't even started yet. That's insane.
This boy's getting flamed. That's crazy.
Alright, well, 1 minute and we'll start. I figured, so we'll go Basculegion, then Finizen, then Gyarados, then Quillfish.
It feels sad to be third, but I can't be mad.
We can't all be champions, Toxic. That's fine.
I would actually like to count. I would like to count up and see, like, because what we had 2 fewer picks per round. So that means we would have had 22 fewer picks than Finizen. I would like to, like, count up and see if we still would have finished first. If they had 22 fewer picks, I think we would have still, because we finished like a whole day.
Yeah, because they had more than 22 picks left when we finished.
True. All right. Okay. Well, it's 4, so I figure we can just get started. What's going on, everybody? I'm streaming on YouTube so that I can actually post this to my YouTube channel. If I stream and record, my computer has like a 50-50 shot every like 2 minutes of just crashing. So I'm just doing it this way. I know you guys are used to things being scuffed on my on this league, but so yeah, I figured we'd just start with Gambit's team, Nova Scotia Scythers, and go from there. I figured this will just be a really chill type of thing. The 3 of us can just kind of discuss. Obviously, if you guys have thoughts in the chat, you can post them there, and I'm looking at chat pretty much the whole time. But yeah, so Gambit was first pick. He had Annihilate, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Salazzle, Lycanroc Day, Hippopotas. Shout out Raz. Meowscarada. Meowscarada, Screamtail, Oh, it's already happening. Vivillon, Zangoose, and Magneton. Do one of you guys want to start on this one?
That's all yours, Dan.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, so in my estimation, there are a couple different Pokemon that are potentially worth the top pick in this format at this point. Yes, Rolo, that is correctly pronounced. But Annihilate is one of those. And that's what Gambit ended up taking first overall. In draft right now, I think the bulk up set is really good. It's also pretty flexible to run a bunch of different sets. But if you go max HP, give it a good chunk of special defense, whatever speed stat you want it to have, and then put the rest into some combination of attack and defense. You don't need a lot in attack. And then just give it bulk up. With Drain Punch and Rage Fist, that thing can do a lot of damage and have a lot of staying power. You can give it Terra Grass, Fire, or Water pretty effectively to either defensively or offensively switch up its roles, and you can give it Burn Immunity, you can give it Spore Immunity, so there's a lot you can do with Annihilate. So I think it's a very solid first pick. And then being a wheel, he was able to grab the full Dondozo Tatsugiri core, which is it's powerful. It's powerful. It's probably a bit more consistent than Regigigas Wheezing, but it also has a lot more counterplay than Regigigas Wheezing, I believe, because you can't switch out once you have it on the field, and you can't bring in an allied Pokemon. So I'm really curious to see how it does in draft. How you feel about that core and his team is really going to determine how well you feel about his team overall. But on top of that, he gave himself a bit of a sand mode with Lycanroc Day and Hippopotas, which the Endeavor set with Lycanroc Day, I believe, is still going to be very effective in draft. He's got Fake Out Pressure with Salazzle, which is also a fast special attacker. Meowscarada gives him another tier 1 that is very powerful. Screamtail can complement his Annihilate pretty well. And the Meowscarada to some extent with support, and Vivillon is also great support. Zangoose and Magneton are kind of throwaways because he went very heavy with his free points, but I do think that Magneton and Zangoose are some of the better tier 4 options. So overall, I think he got a lot of value, and his team has a lot of potential power, but there's going to be a lot of potential counterplay to some of his best modes, and how he can deal with opponents who have that counterplay is going to really determine how his season goes, because the team is strong, but it's also pretty obvious what a lot of the things are going to be doing. There's not as much flexibility. So I think that this is a very, very strong team, but the opponent's going to know what's coming when they see team preview 90-95% of the time. So it just depends on if they're able to build and play around it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm a pretty big fan of this team. I think it's really good. Like, say what you will about Dundozer Tatsugiri in draft, but like, I mean, just the fact that you have to, like, I mean, it forces weird stuff, and like I was forced to bring a Clodsire in a match earlier just to like handle Dundozer Tatsugiri. But you could also look at it as, bro, it literally gets soloed by a Clodsire. So, you know, you can, I guess you can interpret that however way you want. Oh my gosh, whichever way you want. um, but
Man.
I think Gambit handled the wheel pick like literally perfectly. He took one of the top 3 or 5 whatever mons in the format, and then he got an insanely good, valuable combo on the wheel. So like I think the way he handled his picks was really good. I do think this team screams bring Haze into me, like a lot, even past the
Mm,
Dundozo Giri because of the Annihilate. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, what do you think, Toxic?
I really like this team. I think from what I've seen so far, it's like one of the best in the division. Obviously, annihilates the Chad. Everybody knows about Dozo Geary. We've already discussed how to beat it and stuff, and uh, he has like a little sand mode. He has redirection. He has Meowscarada, which is like one of the best Dozo Geary checks in
Hmm.
my opinion. And he has Screamtail to like set up screens for his Annihilate to eat even more hits. I mean, I I really like granted, I don't think a lot of these picks have the most versatility in the world, but it has just enough versatility for me to like it, you know?
Yeah,
And
it
I
feels like
guess
a protect the king kind of team, just kind of really heavily
definitely,
built around Annihilate.
definitely. I also noticed a bit of a lack of a trickery mode, but I don't think he really needs it because he has a really, I think he has really good ways of like bulking out trigger or reversing it.
Yeah,
So I don't see it as inherently necessary. I
yeah,
don't know. I like the team a lot,
yeah.
and Gambit did well.
What was that?
Gambit did well with his wheel pick. He
Yeah, I agree.
abused it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. Yeah, I can definitely see the argument for the Trick Room matchup being not the best here, but in general, I think Trick Room's a little weaker this gen, and like you said, like you can just kind of. I mean, you could even bring Dundozo and just have it do obnoxious yawn and like yawn spam, and be disruptive.
Or
Um,
you can be a Chad and take Trick Room on Meowscarada and reverse it.
or
If you
Screamtail,
become
yeah.
yeah. I actually think that's more viable
Hmm.
format anyway.
Joshy says no special damage on the team is the biggest. Yeah, that's kind of true. Um, like what?
Tatsugiri has base 120 special
Oh,
attack,
true. Also true.
And
and
Magneton.
Salazzle's Salazzle is also pretty good. Magneton,
It's also like
I mean, to some
120 or
extent, yeah.
something, isn't it?
Yeah, Salazzle's, I
Magneton's
think, Magneton's 120, and then Salazzle's what, like 116?
something like that. We're about to find out.
Excellent.
Keep that sprite off my screen.
111.
111. Okay.
Yo, they stuff to go wild on the screen.
Yeah, but there's a good point. There is a shared quad weakness on his special ones, except for the Tatsugiri.
True. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
is true.
fair.
But I do think that overall the team is very solid, but Intimidate into this team does look pretty good.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
mean,
Except for Annihilate.
yeah, I was about
Right.
to
Yeah.
say,
True.
Will-O-Wisp into this team looks very good.
Yes.
And
I can definitely
does-
agree with that.
I can also see like other stuff like obviously Snarl. I know like you don't snarl in front of Annihilate, but you know, in front of his actual special attackers. To be fair, Snarl also goes in on like every special attacker, so that's not really
Yeah.
a criticism.
Yeah. The other thing is like I will say. I mean, it's hard because obviously, like we said, like Tatsugiri has a high base special attack. Lycanroc's attack stats okay, so is Masquerada's. But like the damage output right out of the gate on this team might be a little low. But
I
like
see
I
that.
also don't think that that's what it's going to be going for. But even then, like you can do stuff like Endeavor or Final Gambit to get like an explosive turn one to set up well for Dozogiri or set up well for whatever. What are you guys' thoughts on like a Final Gambit lead to set up for Dozogiri? Like, do you think giving up a Mon is like a good idea? When
I
you're
think it's a
running-
great
I mean-
idea.
I think with Dozogiri it works really well.
Yeah, I think it depends on as everything does. It just depends on positioning, but
Wait, how is Radio already in on the shiny Salazzle joke? He just joined.
dude, I can't escape that. Wade put it in his thumbnail because he drafted it and he put the shiny sprite in his thumbnail and put arousing or something.
Oh my god.
All right, well, I'm good on this one. If you guys want to move to the next one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think when we look especially at like the first 5 teams, the front half of this draft I think was very, very like consistently powerful. But
I agree.
I'm gonna let someone else take this team.
Yeah, I'll start on this one. So this is Dan's team. He was second pick. He got Roaring Moon, which in my opinion is, I would say top 3 or 5, somewhere in there, best picks in the format. And then Sylveon Ceruledge. I don't know. How do you guys say that?
I say Ceruledge, but
Ceruledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ledge, yeah.
Berserker, Flamigo, Toadschool, Hariyama, Rotom Wash, Hatterene, Dugtrio, and Medicham. So this team is like, if you showed me this team and like didn't have a name on it and made me guess who drafted it, I would guess Dan, because like it's just like all of these insanely high value picks put together, and like all of the mons function really well on their own, but then there's obviously also really good defensive synergy. Like having Ceruledge and Berserker to cover fairy types for Roaring Moon. I think that, like, again, like the value picks here, especially in Tier 2, with like Sylveon, Ceruledge, Hatterene, and Rotom Wash, and Hariyama, were all really, really good picks. Like, you end up with a lot of, like, borderline Tier 1s on this team, which I think is really great. I do, and then even like Toadschool, I think is like fine enough value in Tier 4. I do think there's a little bit of overlap. Like 3 fighting types next to Roaring Moon isn't like my favorite thing to see, but it's also like, I mean, you're probably not bringing all 3 every week anyway, so it doesn't really bother me a ton. But yeah, I mean, just it's got a very consistent fast mode with Roaring Moon with like Booster Energy, Tailwind, and Medicham, and I mean most of this team can function under Trick Room or Tailwind too, outside of really Roaring Moon, and I think and Hatterene. Everything else is kind of in like that middle ground, so I like that. But yeah,
Oh, I've
what?
absolutely run Tailwind Hatterene before.
Yeah, I
Oh
believe it.
yeah, you have.
I believe it.
Uh,
What are your thoughts, Toxic?
my thoughts on this team. I'd say if I looked at every division and like asked who got the most value out of the draft, I'd say Dan is really up there, and that's something I can really appreciate. Roaring Moon is arguably, well, not arguably, it's definitely one of the best, but it might be the best. Not about to get into that whole thing, but it's very good. It's one of the best. Sylveon is Sylveon. It's very powerful. It's got like half decent support sets. Sarah Ledge, I love Sarah Ledge, and I think it works really well with a Roaring Moon with like Ghost and Dark synergy, but also kind of beating the Ice types for a Roaring Moon. I think that's really cool. Um, going back to Roaring Moon though, I I Tailwind Roaring Moon actually looks extremely good on this team. Like I think there's another Tailwind setter, but also
Flamigo, I
with
think.
all yeah, I think so. But with all the, like the not min speed, middling speed tier Pokemon, they're like on his top tiers. I think that's gonna be really viable. Berserker's obviously really good with Roaring Moon. Flamigo is. I got no thoughts on Flamingo. I almost know any. I don't know anything about Flamigo. Uh, Toad Squirrel's like pretty good value at a tier 4. Hariyama's good with Hatterene. I mean, oh, have we? And then, not to mention Rotom Wash in tier 2.
Yeah.
Like, you just got so much value, and they don't have like the most obvious synergy in the world, but like they do mesh together. There is inherent synergy on this team. He got Arena Trap out of tier 4, and he got Metacham. So like, I I don't. It's kind of hard to figure out the synergies on this team, but like it is inherently strong, and it's got a good slow mode and a good fast, and that's something I can appreciate outside of like obvious synergies.
Hmm. Dan, do you want to walk us through anything
Talk
we might
about
have
your team.
missed?
Yeah, just a couple quick things on it. When I got Roaring Moon, I was looking at tier 2. I'm like, Sarah Ledge is the Pokemon I most want out of tier 2 now with my Roaring Moon because they've got nearly perfect coverage for one another in terms of defensively and offensively.
Hmm.
On top of that, when it got back to that pick, I saw that Gambit was the only one picking in between, and he already had Annihilate, so I figured he wasn't going to pick Sarah Ledge, so I went Sylveon first, but Sarah Ledge was the more important pick for me. I just knew I'd get it back after that wheel. And then all my other tier 2s were ones that at least a good chunk of either the admin team or uh, the community had in tier 1 at some point, or at least recommended for tier 1 in Hariyama, Sylveon, Rotom Wash, and Hatterene. So I just wanted to get a lot of powerful things. This team does have some synergies which will hopefully be revealed throughout the season, but one cool thing that someone's going to have a really bad day dealing with is Pure Power Roaring Moon. Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Oh no, no, no.
yeah, that's going to happen at some point. But overall, very, very happy with the team. It is basically anything could come any given week, and that was my one goal, especially for my tier 4s, which is why I was very happy with Toad School because you got Rage Powder, Spore, Trick Room, tier 4 Pokemon. It doesn't matter that it doesn't do anything else; it can just run those 3 moves every week and just threaten to do a lot of nonsense. And Arena Trap, I do think, is pretty powerful in tier 4 as well. So everything on this team could come at any given time. Yeah, there's a lot of fighting types, but that's just where a lot of the value ended up being. And it's not like I'm going to bring Roaring Moon and 3 fighting types to a match and just have nothing that isn't weak to Fairy. So
Hmm.
overall, very happy with how the draft went.
Yeah. I will say, and this is kind of a nitpick. I will say, like, one thing I look at this team and wish there was is like a more dedicated Tailwind setter, because I do think Growing Moon is really good at setting Tailwind, but I don't know if you're always gonna, and maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know if you could always are gonna have the space to slot it that move in. So like I'm maybe would like to see maybe another like dedicated Tailwind setter, but that's kind of a nitpick. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I could definitely see that. Roaring Mood also has different ways of speed control too. Like I could
Right.
just Dragon Dance and then switch out Flamigo next to it, and
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So there's different ways that it can do the speed control. But I agree, it being my best tailwind setter and my best offensive piece will give a lot of four move slot syndrome at times, but
Mhm.
I think it'll end up working out.
Yeah, I don't think it'll like cripple you at all, but I think
Yeah,
it's
it definitely
definitely.
won't cripple you. I think it would help to get like a more dedicated one that's faster. Oh, also another nitpick I do have. I think having faster fake out users might help because if I'm being real, your fastest fake out user I believe is Metasham, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's like a big issue, but like it kind of sucks that your fastest fake out users like mid speed.
I can see that. I will say though, like the fact that there's three of them kind of mitigates that a little bit to me.
That's true though.
Um,
That's very true.
but I don't think you're wrong necessarily.
Yeah.
There's also like if I go to hold on, let me go to Showdown.
Yo, look at all those teams.
Oh, that my team for Ed was there. Close your eyes, Ed. Nah, it's off.
And don't look.
It's like if I filtered a fake out, I think a lot of like there's a less of a consistent spread of yeah. There's only seven,
Yeah.
6 mons above 100 that get fake out. So like
Oh,
I will say the concentration of fast fake out went down from last gen.
I actually didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Fake out
I
got
noticed it. I
more.
noticed it in the
Uh,
draft, but I didn't necessarily know the number. But yeah, the fact that there's only 6 is pretty crazy.
wow. Fake out got destroyed. I did. Oh.
Ed says he's watching football. Man, the Dolphins came back. That was looking like it might be a blowout. I mean, it might end up one, but closer now.
All right. Well,
Yo.
I think I'm good with that team. Toxic, were you gonna say something else?
Oh no, it was something completely unrelated.
Oh,
Toby's selling screenshots of your teams to Ed.
hey,
All right,
Toby.
I got a draft
Yeah.
watch. I'll be back afterwards.
All right, dude.
Alright.
Hey, Toby. I feel like a screenshot of my team's got to be worth at least $10, right? 5, really? I feel like you could get more for that.
Oh man.
Well, okay. Toxic, do you wanna? Wait, hold up. This dude Ed negotiated himself up. Toby
Wait,
said, "I got the screenshot for you, $5." Ed says, "I'll give you 20."
dog. Alright, bro, I see you.
25, no
25,
deal.
no deal. Man, Ed, you
Okay.
can't be doing this to yourself.
Uh, Toxic, do you want to
I
start on
need
this one
this.
real quick? I'm gonna run and grab water real quick, so I'll be back in like 30 seconds. But do you want to start on this one?
Oh yeah, sure.
Sick. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
Alright. So this is Depiz. He has like third pick out of obviously he was just right after Dan and Gambit. His team is composed of Iron Hands, Armor Rouge, Armor Rogue. I don't really know how to pronounce that. Jumpluff, Clawzer, Bun. I don't know how to pronounce that either. Gun Tank, DDF, Scizor, Haxers, Cryogonal, and Cloth. So just surface level synergies on as a whole, he has a very, very, very consistent trick room. Uh Armor Rouge. I'm gonna just call it Armor Rouge. Armor Rouge and Didi. Everybody knows Indeedee is it, it it's the it's the Pokemon that just allows everything to set up Trick Room in front of it. Well, with it, with with the fake out immunity from Psychic Terrain, and also Armor Rouge is like the only Pokemon in the game that gets Expanding Force. So it might just straight up be one of the best, if not the best, combo with Indeedee, or at least for Trick Room. But then he makes that even more consistent with like Iron Hands. And Iron Hands isn't like the slowest thing on the Trick Room, but also it's got like it's got like a it's got Fake Out, it's got Belly Drum next to Indeedee, like and then you like put Jump Left with this and that like opens up Indeedee to run offensive sets under Tailwind with Jump Left. I mean, I think I think at least from the tier ones and like one of a few of your tier twos, this just already creates insane offensive trick room cores. Like it already gives you a very high variety of sets, but then you add on other Pokemon like Scizor and Haxorus. Scizor, I will say Scizor with Indeedee like it's kind of weird anti-synergy with the bullet punch priority. That's a little strange. But also Scizor is like one of the best Pokemon to cover a dark type weakness outside of Iron Hands. So like, it has like a little anti-synergy, but it's not really an issue. And then Hackers can just thrive next to Indeedee, and it can just like spam Dragon Dance and stuff. Like, and I already know I went over Jump Love, but also it. I don't think any. I don't know if y'all have really done that much research into Jump Love support set, but this thing's support sets are insane. Like outside of Ridge Powder and like Tailwind, it can set up Reflect for Indeedee and stuff, or Iron Hands. So that means Iron Hands can set up Belly Drum even more consistently. You could do like Fast Iron Hands or Fast Armarouge. They're both like they're not the most min speed Pokemon in the world, but like I don't know. And then I haven't gone to like the tier threes and stuff yet. Clawitzer on a terrain team
Yes,
is
sir. Yes,
insane.
sir.
I love Clawitzer. I really wanted that. We'll get to that when we get to that. Um, Clawitzer on a terrain team is insane. I know a lot of people don't really look at terrain pulse, but with like Terra, and you could like Terra Psychic, and just get insane terrain pulses off. Clawitzer is one of the only water types with consistent water stab. Uh, it's like min speed, like everything else, but he also has like really consistent tailwind, so it's not really an issue. But it also adds on to his trick room core. So far, this has like the strongest trick room core in the league. Well, not in the league, not in the league, in the division, in the division.
Is it stronger
Um,
than? Do you think it's stronger than Dan's? I think it's very close.
it's close.
Cause Dan's got like
It's
Hatterene. What does he got?
well,
Hatterene,
I think
Hariyama.
the big thing about trick room core strength to me is like trick room consistency.
True, that
It's
is true.
that well, not just that, but I literally forgot. Indeedee also gets trick room now, so it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. He has a lot of like
um,
cool. He has a lot of cool like role doubling here. Like he has two redirectors. He has two trick room setters. Like I like, and both are good. Like led next to each other, and I think that creates cool mix-ups you can do. So
mix
I
up.
like that.
Yeah,
Because Indeedee can run offensive sets. Like it totally
it
can.
can. Like
Um,
it kind of its offensive sets lost a little bit of viability without Dynamax, but it's still really good next to like Tailwind Jump Up.
yeah.
Um, and then you get to his like lower tiers outside of Clawitzer, the goat. Like Uh, Darkspawn is like kind of cool with Scizor. I'm not sure what it's doing here. I haven't really done much research into this dog, but like I know it has a
Hmm.
fire immunity. Oh, I know what it does. It has a Romobell, so it can stop all taunt for like Indeedee or Armarouge, right?
Yes.
That's pretty good. It has like
Or
decent support.
yeah, that and it's a fake out or a fire immunity too. So just
Oh wow, so people can't spam Heat Wave next to Jump Love.
yeah. It also
So
gets random stuff like weather moves, misty terrain, howl, scary face,
so
charm.
So it's got really cool what's it called? Just really cool text, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how I forgot that. Um there's like other stuff like Scum Tank. I don't know how many people have like done research into Scum Tank. This thing is demonic in every sense of the word. It kind of got worse with Terra because it only has well now everything can be a ground type, and if I'm being real, almost everything will want to be a ground type. But like, it's still really good. It's got like Snarl, Haze, and stuff. It's got like really cool support moves, and nobody talks about it. It's really cool. Uh,
Toby
Cryogonal's
knows.
a high. He knows. He's kind of he kind of put Skuntank on the map for me. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, Cryogonal is a really good value, high value tier 4. It's got like icy wind, screens, freeze dry. I think it also gets haze. I don't really
Yes, it
remember.
does. It does get haze. It gets sheer cold now, which is
Nice.
definitely at
It
least
also
worth mentioning.
yeah yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
like, it only gets ice moves plus, like, what, Ancient Power and Flash Cannon or Power Gem, something like that. So, like, I
it's
think it
not
has a
supposed to
real,
be
it has
offensive
a,
anyway.
yeah, but, like, I think it has a real argument for running Sheer Cold, too, because, like, if a team doesn't have a lot of ice weaknesses, but, like, you still need, like, Haze or whatever, or, like, a ground immunity, just, like, run Sheer Cold.
It also has like a way to remove opposing terrain with like Ice Spinner. I know like you have Psychic Turn, so you might not want to do that, but still it's an option. It's got like Chilling Water, so it can just lower your attack.
True! I forgot about that.
It even gets like Explosion. I, I,
Hmm.
I don't know if I should be saying that actually.
Terranormal Explosion!
No, no, I take it back. I take it back. I'm sorry, that is.
Bruh. Dude, okay, no, I'm gonna listen. Listen. If I see it, I'm gonna say it, okay? If I see it, I'm gonna say it. That's all I'm saying.
All right, all right.
Also, like,
Um,
is Cloth not that bad on this team? Like, I think
I'm
Cloth
not
kind of
gonna lie.
sucks, but like
I'm
having
not.
redirection for it seems pretty good, I think.
I'm gonna be real. I have done zero research into Claw. I saw that its stats were bad and just never cared. I never looked back.
Its stats are really bad. It's a shame. I mean, you know what Anger Shield does. I don't know. It might just still be bad. But I don't think it's like the worst tier 4 imaginable. Like it does something.
Yeah, I mean, Ingershell does. Ooh, I actually just thought of like a really. I just thought of like an idea, but I'm not gonna reveal it.
Terra
Although I
Normal
will,
Explosion Skuntank next to Cloth. You do more than half. He takes Anger Shell. You win.
you know,
Think about it.
I know you read minds, don't you? You just like
Wait, there is
you
no way
instantly.
there's no way that's what you were thinking of.
No, that's not what I was
Okay,
thinking of.
okay. I was about to say, dog, that is ass.
No, my hidden strats.
Wait, hold on, hold on.
Look, all I'm gonna say is U-turn jump loop is gonna put in work. It's gonna put in work next to weak armor rouge. And like cloth. Wait, how does anger shell work? At half or less of the Pokemon's max HP, shell smash. Oh, well that definitely doesn't work. But like weak armor rouge is gonna have a place on this team. So
Yes.
yeah, I think this team is really solid. It's got very consistent trick room. It allows its top picks to be extremely versatile. It has really good power picks in like Iron Hands and Clawitzer and Scizor and Haxorus. And its low tiers aren't they considering what they are, low tiers, they aren't that bad. Bruh, what is that damage? I hate this.
This is into a Cloth. I was checking if it does 50%.
Bro,
It
cloth.
sure does.
Oh my. Okay, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on how bad cloth is.
Yeah, it sucks. I wish it was better. Um yeah, I don't know, man.
I
I
got
feel
unnecessary.
yeah, I feel good about this. I didn't talk as much, but I mean, a lot of the stuff you said was just what I was thinking. Like, it's good. I wish there was. Maybe this is cap. I don't know. I feel like I wish there was an intimidate deterrent here, because like there is special offense like Armor Rouge and Clawitzer, but like I feel like Iron Hand, Scizor, and Haxorus are going to be your three main damage pieces, and I feel like not having. I don't know. Three physical attackers is fine without it.
I
Dude,
I do think I do think generally Defiant with psychic terrain teams are extremely good.
Yeah.
Well, they were better in Dynamax with like Max Flutterby and Darkness or whatever.
Mhm.
But like here, it's also still good because people are gonna take Snarl to just like nerf your psychic terrain stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's completely necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
I also just noticed this. There's like he like supported Scizor really well. And I don't know why he put all those eggs in the Scizor basket. Like he's got like Flashfire Armor Rouge. He's got Well Baked Body on Darkspawn.
I
I
mean, I think it's okay. Like, I don't think he overdid it because those mounts do their own stuff
oh
too.
no, I'm not complaining about it at all. I just noticed it and I thought, wow, yeah, I really like it. I like it. Any overall thoughts from you?
No, that's about it. Um, Also, note Gambit. The reason I calced it with no defense investment, we wanted to do more than half, so it procs our own anger shell.
Yeah. You see, Wake is on a whole other level. You simply can't comprehend him.
All right. Well, we'll move on. I'll start with this one so that you can start. So that you can start with mine. Um,
Hey, I got some things to say about you. Anyway.
all right. So this is Mario EFG 12. I don't know if is he in the chat? I don't know.
I don't think he is. He's like in a really weird time zone. I don't
Yeah.
really know what it is.
All right, but he's got Fluttermane, Sableye, Gastrodon, Serena, Luxray, Cloyster, Driftbloom, Gallade, Volcarona, Chansey, and Skiploom. So I'd say this is definitely, of the four we've talked about, the most unorthodox um,
Yeah.
team.
This team. I
It's
You keep on
definitely
going.
weird. But there's some cool stuff here. I like I don't fully understand the value of Driftbloom here. Like, I wish there was a terrain user, but I do know that there is like Sableye Nightshade into weakness policy on it.
Yeah, it gets like Trick
Not
Room.
Nightshade,
So like
Shadow Sneak I meant. Um,
it gets like Trick Room, so it looks like a consistent Trick Room setter now. Now that I think about it.
yeah. Um,
Or unless the leak was lying to me.
no, Driftbloom gets Trick Room.
Okay, cool. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, it gets. Yep, it does. Um, but yeah, so I guess the major thing to me here is the speed tiers are a little suspect to me. Because
Uh,
they only go down to 50, and then they have Fluttermane and Volcarona at 100 or above. It's probably okay because Fluttermane
it
outspeeds like half the decks under
it also gets
Tailwind.
like Icy Wind, so like sure.
Yeah, the speed control's there, I
Also,
guess. And
Drifblim isn't gonna be super consistent tailwind, although Volcarona can do it too.
yeah, so he's got options. I just wish that there was one that was a little more consistent. Um, but like I think that this team is gonna be like a more bulky. Like I know you've got Fluttermane, but like outside of that, most of these picks are pretty bulky, and I think that it's mostly gonna be like a bulky or balanced offense type of team where maybe you lead Fluttermane and like suicide it and just like trade it 1 for 1 or something, and then set Trick Room and bring in Gastrodon or whatever. You know, there's options there. The other thing is like I get the argument of Driftblim being a Trick Room setter now, but like what here really wants Trick Room? That like
That is also
Gastrodon,
true.
but like other
But
than
also,
that,
Gastrodon is really an attacker.
right?
I, you keep on going.
Trunks, we're not taking 20 minutes per team, but this is the fourth team and it's been 30 minutes, so we'll be good there. But it is gonna be long. I know. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
39 is the lowest. I missed that, and then I talked about Gastrodon right after. But yeah, I don't know.
all right.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I got to say about this team. So y'all don't really know this, but before like I think this was on Friday night. I was just looking. I was just taking a glance at the teams. Getting ready for this. Um, I looked at this team and it threw me off. It it's it's kind of bizarre because I feel like Fluttermane is one of the more easy ones to get like a really conventional core around. But Mario just kind of threw that to the wall and kind of went kind of unconventional. So like I'm just gonna go down the line. Fluttermane, obviously one of the best Pokemon in the format. I don't need to rehash what's been shoved into your brains. Sableye, I think Sableye is a lot stronger in this format. Actually, the Sableye get Trick Room. I don't know. I don't remember if it gets Trick Room.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it does.
Okay, thank the Lord. Um, Sableye, I don't really care for Sableye in this team, but I think it's fine. I feel like it's weird to get like a secondary ghost type on your other tier two, but like considering how mid considering this team's middling speeds, I think it's gonna put in work with Quash. Uh, Gastrodon, I don't really see it on this team, but I see that it can work. I mean, having Gastrodon on any team can honestly work if you need a good bulky water. Like it's one of the few water types that don't rely on Hydro Pump or chilling water. It actually
Hmm.
is like muddy water. Um, it's like a half decent Dozogiri counter. No, not half decent. It's a good Dozogiri counter. It's a
Yep.
good Dozogiri counter. My favorite pick on this team is actually Serena, because Priority is gonna kind of body Flutterman. And it's gonna body it, and I'm really glad that he grabbed Serena with Flutterman to cover for that.
Hmm.
Uh, Luxray. I love Luxray. Luxray is my goat. Um, it's really strong. He's really strong. He's not the fastest support mon in the world, but he's got really good support sets with like Snarl and Baby Doll Eyes and stuff. It gets like Thunder Wave or whatever. Uh, I don't, I don't see Cloyster. I don't. There's a good. I'm actually gonna check right now. I got Showdown pulled up. I don't think this thing gets wide guard, but I
It
need to
doesn't.
check before I start talking.
It doesn't.
All right, so it doesn't get any like really cool support moves, and it doesn't really. It doesn't really. It doesn't have like a redirector. No, no, it has skip limb, but like it's a skip limb.
Yeah, I
So
mean it's a tier 4 pick. Like I think it's just a
I'm
water type and it does something, but like he does have Gastrodon, so that is a little. It feels like it might not have been needed.
yeah. That's like the main reason why it feels a little weird to me. Also, I completely forgot about the Volcarona that's being in my face right now. That's also redirection, but and I
Yeah.
agree with you on the drift limp thing.
Oh right.
Like, sure, like Shadow Sneak proc into weakness policy drift limb, but also it's like you're doing that into a drift limb when you could just go bury with the Flutter Man right on your team,
True.
right?
True.
So like, why put all your eggs into a balloon when you can put it all into whatever Fluttermane is?
Mhm.
Um, Gallade, Gallade. I don't know how. Actually, now that I'm looking at it a little bit more, I actually like it on this team. With like sharpness, it can also set Trick Room.
Yeah.
It's not as consistent as a Trick Room set as Drifloom is, but like it sets Trick Room.
I will
It can do
say.
like
Oh, go ahead.
it can do like cool sharpness stuff next to Sableye, doing speed control. Because like Squash can affect the dark types, but Gallade can just OHKO them anyway, so does it matter?
Mhm.
Worry about to say.
I was just gonna say ghost coverage in general looks really good into this team. Like there's no
Oh
resist,
yeah.
and the only immunity is
Oh
um,
oh
Chansey.
oh.
So that is a little rough, but
No.
um, I mean you do have
Oh.
one of the strongest ghost types in the format that's faster than all of them except Dragapult, or it can be just choose to be
Oh.
faster than Dragapult if it wants. But Yeah, I think that's about all I've got to say about the
Chansey.
team. What do you?
Yeah.
I do think that we might want to pick up the pace a little bit because at this rate, we're gonna be here till 1 in the morning my time. So
Oh my
we might
bad.
wanna pick up
I
the pace a little bit.
I do be talking a little bit too
No, no,
much.
no. It's not. It's both of us.
Okay,
All
I'll help
right.
you guys move along the pace.
All right.
All right.
Well, is that all you got to say about this one, Toxic?
Yeah, yeah. I'll just like not go over every single pick and just go over like the general synergies instead.
Cool.
Uh,
Well,
yeah, that's all I gotta say.
next up is my team. Toxic, you want to
All
take
right.
this one?
Oh yeah, I'll take it. So this team, wait, you were like mid pick, right? Like just straight in the middle,
I was
or
fifth.
you were fifth, so you're like
Yeah.
on the cusp of middle. Uh, so like he has Great Tusk, Kilowattrel, Gardevoir, Persian, Vaporeon, Haunter, Cinderace, Bisharp, Sawsbuck, Glimmora, and Glalie. Um, to just like to just talk about the synergies and stuff. Great Tusk. We've had discussions about Great Tusk in the server. Me and Wake both think it's the best ground type in the format, and I think people gotta stop sleeping on this thing. Great Tusk is demonic, in like every sense of the word. It has an insane attack stat. It's got really good HP and like really good defense stat. So you can't kill this thing. You can't really kill this thing based on its defense. Obviously, its special defense is garbage. But it also has 115 HP, so you can just invest in special defense and eat special attacks, especially with an assault vest. Um, and like it's got a middling speed tier, but I think it's still really strong, specifically because of its move pool. Wait, you want to talk about that move pool real quick?
I mean, it gets like every move.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, it gets close combat and headlong rusher. It stabs plus earthquake. Body press is a real thing on it too. And then it gets like ice spinner, knockoff, elemental fangs, play rough, mega horn, rock slide, head smash. I think I missed something, but that's about what you're going to
yeah,
be running a lot of
Great
the
Tusk
time.
is good, it's strong, and it's base 87 speed. The rest of this team is also pretty cool when we get to start looking
yeah.
at it. So
My bad, my bad.
Great Tusk pairs well with Kilowattrel because it's a Disquake mode, and with Gardevoir because you can run telepathy on it as well. Toxic, why don't you take it up from there?
My bad. Yeah, he has a really cool Disquake mode with Kilowattrel. He Kilowattrel also sets Tailwind for Great Tusker. That's pretty cool. Kilowattrel's like the best possible Disquake partner for it. Like it can just do Discharge and set Tailwind for Great Tusk. Gardevoir is a good Trick Room setter, although this team doesn't really want to set Trick Room. But like it can do other stuff outside of it, like offensive sets. With like it could do offensive sets by spamming just Dazzling Gleam or Energy Ball or whatever. It could do support with like Icy Wind. Persian's a really good fake out user. It's got fast support with like Icy Wind and stuff. It got Snarl and Fake Tears, so it gets even more support now. Vaporeon is a really good bulky water for this team. Uh, Haunter. Haunter doesn't really have any like. I think it's a really good glue piece, specifically in tier 4. Uh, Cinderace, everybody knows about Cinderace. Fast attacker. It got nerfed this gen, but I still think it's a really good pick on this team. Bisharp. I didn't mention this with Kilowattrel, but it's like intimidate deterrence. Sawsbuck is Sawsbuck. Glimmora is a really good special attacker. And Glalie is another Icy Wind spammer. So yeah, I think this team is really solid all around. Y'all can take it up.
You got
Yeah,
anything to
okay.
add, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good team all around. One thing I will note is that its lowest speed stat is base 65, so it's really going to struggle if the opponent gets Trick Room up. It's got a lot of tools to prevent that from happening, and it's got a decent amount of priority as well, specifically looking at that Bisharp. But Trick Room, this team is probably one of the softer teams in the division to it. Overall, definitely a solid team with a lot of good offensive synergy. Not the highest overall power level, but really good synergy on the team. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this thing works. Just hope no one ever sets Trick Room successfully against you.
I'm not worried about it. I am a little worried about it, but not that worried about it. All right. Dan, do you want to start this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Master Phoenix or Phoenix. I'm going to go with Phoenix, his team. Looking at it overall, obviously it's got the Iron Bundle, which I don't have in the very top tier of potential Pokemon, but I have it like just half a step below that. It's
Mm-hmm.
obviously fantastic speed control because you can give it booster energy, make it the fastest thing in the format, and it's got Icy Wind. So it's really tough to beat that way. Pachirisu's good support for it as well. It's got decent damage output. Zoroark will let you play some head games. Staraptor's a very powerful Pokemon that can do a variety of things. It can hit really hard. It's also got some nice other sets that it can run. There's the Abomasnow, nothing really to take advantage of it, but Abomasnow itself allows you to counter weather and is just powerful by itself this generation, especially with the snow buff, allowing it to buff its defenses. I had an Abomasnow survive a flame charge from a attack boosted Slitherwing before, uh, while still being quad weak, if that tells you anything about Abomasnow's general bulk. Uh, Gothitelle lets some trapping things happen. Lycanroc Knight is the worst Lycanroc form, but I mean, it can do decently on this team. And then Dragonite is a really good free pick on this team. I think pairing with Iron Bundle can let you do some really silly things with the speed control that Dragonite likes having without having to rely on it itself. Overall, I think it's a really solid team with a decent power level. The one thing I will knock it on is that there isn't anything that's overwhelming offensively except for that Dragonite. Everything else is probably going to miss a decent number of calcs without being set up. So this team might be a little bit setup oriented or a bit need to play a bit cleaner with chip damage and switches to successfully mitigate the opponent hitting back, because this team's going to allow the opponent to hit back a lot, even if they do have speed control. But overall, I like the team. What do you guys think?
I'm looking at this team. I really like this team. I think it's really powerful. I think it's got good speed control options and such. But I'm like looking at this team and it doesn't have. I don't think it has a single rock resist.
I mean,
Am I
yeah,
tripping?
all the Pokemon are rock resists. They can all Terra. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it can't. They can't all be rock resist. That's
They
true.
can they
But like
can all
on,
be rock resists.
but like on, he like drafted his top tiers are both weak to rock slide. His I think Staraptor's tier two. Two of his tier twos are
Yep.
weak to rock slide. Uh, Pyro. I mean, I don't think I don't. It might become a big issue, but I don't think it's like a glaring one. They'll make this team look weaker in my eyes, but I think it kind of sucks to be that weak to rock slide. Wait, is
Busy editing his stream,
Oh,
but
yeah.
generally I
Yeah.
think
I
you're
just
right.
I just want to say to everyone watching, I I was a little ambitious, and I realized that even if we speed it up, this is gonna take hours upon hours. So I think what we're gonna do is, so that we don't have to sacrifice quality of analysis, we're gonna get through Basculegion and Finizen tonight or today, and then we will do Gyarados and Quillfish another day this week. Um, I just made that call because I don't want to have to rush through everything, because I know people want to hear analysis. So just so that everyone watching knows, that's the plan. Sorry to interrupt you guys.
No, we are just saying it was your turn to talk. But if that's all we have on this team, I think we
Oh,
can move on.
hey, I don't appreciate the Cinderace slander in chat.
yeah, the center is Slater in chat. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so sorry for the delay again, guys, but um,
Believe me,
again,
I'm sad too.
Trunks is also sad. Sorry, Trunks, your division should have finished faster.
Yeah, y'all should have finished
All
faster.
right, I'll start with this one. So this is Cosmic Kyle's team, the Montana Metagross. He took Mousehold, Noivern, Satitan, Toxtricity, Tinkaton, Gogoat, Iron Moth, Palisand, Bombardier, Girafarig, and Palafin. So this team has a very, very clear mission, and I think the mission is Mousehold next to like half of these offensive threats. Mousehold lets Palafin get out and transform really safely, and get back in safely. Noivern is a good Tailwind setter just in general. You have stuff like Toxtricity can Boom Burst next to Noivern with Telepathy, as well as I guess Palisand is your only normal immunity. But I think in general there's some redundancies here. Stuff like this team looks really ground weak only because like Iron Moth and Toxtricity are both 4 times weak, and Tinkaton. I guess maybe it's not as bad. There's only 3, but I think offensively it's obviously really good. You have what like 4 Mons at 100 or above, which I like to see. Anyone else want to comment?
Yeah, his anti-trick room mode is Palisand.
Yeah, and I don't know if
Your
that's
team, yeah, I was also going to say, unlike your team, there's not a lot of tools to prevent Trick Room from going up. So I do think it's going to be a bigger issue for his team than your team, even though technically he does have the Palisand.
yeah. Does Girafarig
but-
get imprisoned?
I think it does.
Yeah, it does. So I mean
Yeah.
that's one option, but still not as
Then you
great.
just have a Girafarig sitting on the field with only 2 moves.
Right.
But overall, I do think that this team is very Trick Room weak, which I think is going to be the problem for it. I also would have liked to see Satitan get paired with a something that can consistently set snow for it. I guess something's going to learn Snowscape on here, but I would have liked to see maybe Slowking on this team, which I think would have handled most of the issues this team has if there was a Slowking on it. Overall, I do think it's a team with a lot of power, but also a lot of weaknesses to potentially exploit. This team needs to be going first because if it isn't going first, it's dying.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Toxic, any thoughts?
I pretty much agree with a lot of what y'all said. I I do agree. I would have liked Satitan with like a Hail Setter, specifically because like you could have done like Belly Drum next to Mousehold and like bring in Hail Setter and just go burr. Um, there are a few picks on this team that I don't really understand, but I honestly think that's fine because they're like the lower tiers, and I don't think I think the main focus for a team like this is definitely like the high tiers and like Toxtricity and Tinkaton. But yeah, I pretty much agree with what y'all said. So
Cool. Well, that being said, we can move on to Frior's team. Anyone want to start this one off?
I guess that
Toxic, you should do it because I play him week 1, so I shouldn't do it.
Oh, touche. So this team is made of Iron Valiant, Talonflame, Sandy Shocks, Jolteon, Ditto, Hypno, Goldingo, Hydreigon, Floatzel, Ampharos, and Whiscash. So like off the bat, Iron Valiant is one of the best Pokemon in the format. Holds a very unique typing with Fairy Fighting. Can basically be anything. Can be attacker, special attacker, support. It's probably the most versatile Pokemon in the format, and I think that's a really strong pick to start off with. Talonflame is also like one of the most consistent Tailwind setters in the format. It covers the Steel weakness from Iron Valiant unless fighting resists Steel. It's not the strongest in the world, but it does enough damage. It has a high enough speed tier, and it sits Tailwind consistently. Sandy Shocks, it's like a fast special attacker. That's all I really know about it. Sandy Shocks is definitely one of the more. It's not one of the more standout paradoxes to me, but it is very powerful, and on the correct team, it can do very well. Uh, Jolteon feels weird when you have Sandy Shocks right above it, but like I think it's fine. Jolteon does focus more as like a supporter with screens and baby doll eyes and like Thunderwave, so that's pretty cool. Ditto, I never know what to think about Ditto. It can like copy Terras, I think. I don't remember if that's
Yes.
true, but it can like copy Terras and stuff.
Pretty sure it
Has like
does.
a it has a lot of like really niche sets that it can run. I I don't really have much to say about Ditto. Hypno, I guess it's like the Trick Room set of this team. It has inner focus Trick Room. That's interesting. That's all I know about it. It has like inner focus Trick Room. Outside of that, it's not that remarkable. Goldingo. Goldingo is very powerful. Uh, I think its special attack is like it's probably the highest on the team right now. Uh, it's a very good special attacker. It's not very versatile, but that's fine. It's next to Talon Flame. It's a consistent tailwind, not trick room. Next to Goldingo's good. Hydreigon, it completes the fantasy core with Iron Valiant and Goldingo. It's very versatile. It's a powerful special attacker. Um, Floatzel doesn't have a rain setter, but it's a good water type for the team. Ampharos, you have three electric types. I don't know what Ampharos is doing here. And I can say the same for Whiscash. I don't know what this is doing here too. So overall, this team is really powerful. It's got good speed control, and it's got like a half decent trick room setter. But there are like weird repeat typings here that kind of bother me, and I don't think there's that good of. I don't think there's that much intimidate deterrent or snarl deterrent on this team either. So
Didn't Frio's championship team from last season have like three electric types? I feel like I remember.
well, to be fair with that, he had a Tapu Koko, so you
No, no,
could have
no.
done
I'm not. I'm
legendary.
not. I'm not saying that it's not like on paper a flaw. I just thought I remembered that, and I thought it was a funny coincidence, or maybe not a coincidence. I don't know. Um, yeah. I mean, I share a lot of the same thoughts on this team. I there's some picks that like I just feel like they don't necessarily have the support that they want. Mainly Floatzel, to me. Cause like, what's your rain dancer? Jolteon. Jolteon gets it, I think. So I mean, I guess that's
It
your rain
does.
dancer. Um, but like, I mean, it goes fast. I think this another one that like if Trick Room goes up against it, it's potentially really scary. You have good like offensive typings to get to like hit trick like common Trick Room setters like Goldengo and Hydreigon. Plus, you have like a couple taunt users, I think, and Iron Valiant has imprisoned Trick Room. But this is another one. Slowest thing is Ampharos, I think, 55. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
unless you
Well, no,
don't
the slowest
transform
thing is
Ditto,
technically Ditto.
right? You got any thoughts on this one, Dan?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun week one matchup. This is more just a meta thought for the division, but as we go through each team, I really am liking my Hatterene pick more and more.
Yeah,
But it's just more over meta division. But I'm not going to talk too much about this team overall. But there are some things on it that in prep I noticed that I'm going to have to be more wary of than it may seem initially. But I won't say too much more than that. You guys will see week one.
all right. Well, we'll move on to OC Frey's Pogging Porygons. Dan, do you want to start this one?
Man, I have the perfect playoff transaction for this team.
I think we all do. I think we've all got it ready.
Man, I'm not even in that division. I'm ready to counter pick them.
No, but in all seriousness, looking at this team, Chi Yu, I think, is one of the stronger things in the format.
Hmm.
Something that at least deserves some consideration as sorry, OC Frey. You set yourself up for that months ago, and it's just a joke that's going to stick, like the Salazzle joke. But Chi Yu is definitely like something that I think deserves at least some consideration for number one overall pick. So I probably wouldn't take it there, but it's definitely a very strong first round pick. Quaquaval and Raichu give you some decent offensive options. Quaquaval especially likes the ability to get in for free behind a sub with Orthworm to get an Aqua Step and Moxie boost off. And Garchomp Orthworm is a good combination as well. Murkrow works with a lot of this team to give it speed advantage. Toxapex exists. And outside of Toxapex, I think the rest of this team is great. I guess Toxapex is the anti-trick room mode on this team, which I don't actually think is a great anti-trick room mode.
And it's also the anti-Danzogiri mon on this team.
That makes more sense. I think that's actually pretty good. But I do think that this team struggles with Trick Room, which is, again, a running theme in this division. But I do think that Orthworm actually gives it a bit more flexibility to fight against Trick Room. I think it's a good, strong offensive team that's a bit weak to Trick Room, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I like it. Maybe a bit more than the last couple teams because of the variety of threats and the way that Orthworm can help with the flow charting, especially given the Garchomp on the team. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think pretty much all of the teams since mine have all been like fast, really good, like really strong, but don't like Trick Room. The one before it might have even been. Yeah, Mario EFG has Gastrodon at least. But yeah, so the Trick Room weakness is a little bit of a trend in this division, but I guess that's nice for I guess that means that I guess the more Trick Room weak teams there are, the less Trick Room they all have to play against, right?
Hey, maybe you can fix Trick Room.
But yeah, I mean overall, I think that team's really good. Like I think that. Never mind. I was gonna say it's a little frail, but having Shed Tail plus Garchomp is bulky plus. I mean, I don't. What is Tinkatuff? Does Tinkatuff do anything like?
It has like fake out and screens.
I mean,
I was
it's a
actually
pretty
really
frail
surprised.
team.
I was actually really surprised with the support, with Tinkaton support. Like, it's a lot of support moves.
Yeah, I mean the special bulk is pretty good with Eviolite, 65, 55, and then 82 Spadef. Like that's not terrible. And it gets own tempo fake out actually. I forgot that that's a thing. So that's pretty significant, I think. And it gets like pounce. It makes it so you ignore inner focus.
Yo.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But
yeah, so I get the Tinkatuff now. I forgot about the own tempo. What were you saying, Dan? Or Mold Breaker.
Mold Breaker. Okay.
That's what I meant. I meant Mold Breaker.
About to say.
Yeah, sorry. Mold Breaker ignores inner focus. My fault. But yeah, I mean, pretty good team. You got any thoughts, Toxic?
Pretty much what y'all said. I mean, it's a really powerful team. Fast fake out. A lot of steamroll potential. Garchomp, Orthworm, Toxapex. I hate it, but like it's legit. Yeah, I like this team. Really good steamroll potential.
I will say, I wish there was another strong special attacker to pair with Chi-Yu to benefit from the ability, because like.
Although.
I mean, like Raichu, Toadscruel, and yeah, but like they're not the strongest things in the world, so I think it might be better to have another thing to abuse that ability, but like at the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter that much. Just something I felt like was maybe worth mentioning. All right, moving on to Jackie. I guess I'll start with this one. This is finally breaking the streak of teams that are Trick Room weak. We've got Chenpao, Farigiraf, Skeledurge, Florges, Dragalge, Cacturne, Corviknight, Hippowdon, Crabominable, Dunsparce, and Bellibolt. So this team, I actually almost have the opposite concern that if this team doesn't get Trick Room up, it's really going to struggle. Because you have a gap between 70 and 135 in your speed tiers.
Oh no!
So it's definitely like you're kind of Chien-Pao or like Scarf on a couple mons or bust. if you're like trying to play fast, and like you have Corviknight as your as a tailwind setter, but like it's just not the most consistent tailwind setter because of its speed tier, and I'm not super sold on that being as consistent as it would need to be for this team to play fast. Granted, I mean this team is bulky enough. You might like sometimes you might not even need speed control, right? Like the combination of Florges and Skeledirge and Corviknight and Hippowdon, like the bulk here is pretty insane. Um, and you have one of the most consistent Trick Room setters in the format with Farigiraf. So I think the Trick Room mode is really strong, but it's gonna struggle against like teams with really high damage output that can break through the bulk on like a lead, and then you kind of like left out of position in the late game. What do you guys think?
Okay, I love this team. I think this team's awesome because not only does it have a really good Trick Room mode, you can't stall Trick Room against it because the Dunsparce can break protect
True.
and also operate as a tailwind setter if you want to go that way. But it's a Trick Room team that takes away a lot of the common counterplay to Trick Room, which is getting protects correct and stuff like that. So I think that it's really awesome that way. Chien Pao can operate in Trick Room with Sucker Punch if it wants to, but it also uh, forces opponents to pick one kind of speed control because it's one of the fastest things in the format. Overall, I think this team is very cool, very bulky, hits really hard, has a cacturn on it, which doesn't do much. But besides that, like I I think that so Jackie's the one person I don't play in the regular season, and I'm actually kind of happy about that because this team would terrify me a lot more in prep than some of the other teams because it's just so unconventional, and I love the way that it looks on paper.
Toxic, any thoughts?
Uh, I do agree with like all the other stuff that's been said. This team is really cool. Like I'd say it's definitely one of the coolest teams in the division for me. I really wish, I really wish Tianpao wasn't the only Pokemon over base 100. I feel like, I feel like there could be some trades made to at least like fill the gaps, like base 100 or base 110 or something. Just
Hmm.
like something to make the fast mode look a little bit better. I mean, it'd be a lot better if your tailwind setter were like faster, but it's a Corviknight, which is a good tailwind setter. Don't like don't get me wrong, but it's also like not the fastest tailwind setter. So like I feel like I can barely call it a fast mode. But like
Yeah.
outside of that, this team is extremely bulky. Uh a lot of people are gonna have a tough time breaking through this team. Um yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good team.
Cool. All right, we'll move on to Ed, and I'll let someone else start with this one because I play him week one. So, someone else wanna
I
start on
guess
this one?
I'll take it.
Sweet.
Um Drag This team is made of Dragapult, Taurus Aqua, Bronzong, Donphan, Appleton, Pikachu, Grimmsnarl, Rotom Heat, Hawlucha, Espeon, and Weavile. So like right off the bat, Dragapult Dragapult is really good. Everybody knows about Dragapult. If you played Gen 8, you've seen a Dragapult team. And you've seen how powerful it is. It's like it's probably the most comparable Pokemon to Iron Valiant with how versatile it is. Tauros Aqua is like probably one of the best water types in general. Like physical water types got a significant buff due to Scald being removed from the game. Uh, it has like a move that can break screens, I believe. It's got like Intimidate. It covers the ice weakness from Dragapult. Tauros is just generally good on this team. Uh, Bronzong is a very consistent trick room setter. It covers like the fairy weakness from Dragapult. Uh, and it can even do like offensive sets with like Iron Defense Body Press. And like with your trick room mode as a whole with like Donphan Appleton, like it's good. It it does low enough speed tiers, so that way it doesn't feel like an overly fast team with Dragapult. So like it just covers speed tiers really well. Pikachu, I Pikachu exists. Grimmsnarl is actually a really good pick on this team, considering that outside of the Trick Room mode, the top picks are a tad bit frail. So like having a Pokemon that can like run offensive sets and stuff, but also like set screens for your team is very good. It also gets like misty terrain now, so it can like prevent burns. It gets parting shot.
why did they buff this mon? I will never
I
understand.
don't know. It was like one of the best Pokemon in like normal VGC, and they decided to make it better. Anyway, uh, Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat completes the Fire, Water, Grass core. It it's just a generally good bulky offense piece. It can do like it could do like pretty cool disc quake stuff with Dawn Fan. It lost Electro Web, which means it's a little less versatile, but I still think it's very powerful as like a fire and electric type. A Hawlucha, I don't really care for Hawlucha as a Pokemon, and it feels kind of weird on this team with like Tauros Aqua already being the fighting type. But it's fine. It doesn't get like Tailwind or anything, but it can do like half decent unburdened sets. Espeon's like a Espeon. It's like a fast psychic type that's pretty powerful. Uh, that's all I gotta say on Espeon. And Weave's just like a really good fake out user with a good offensive type in. So yeah, this team is generally really solid, and I think it has a lot of options to like blitz you or just outbulk you. Anybody else?
Dan, you wanna hit touch on anything?
Yeah, I mean it's a solid team. It's got speed control going a little bit in both directions, although primarily its slow speed control is better than its fast speed control, but it also has the fast format, so it's not a huge deal. Dragapult is still an absolute menace. You can just put a choice band on it, tear a dragon. The dragon darts is killing everything. Uh, Overall, solid team, decent output, but I do think the biggest problem is going to be that output overall. I think it could use a couple heavier hitters because I don't think it has anything with over 120 in its offensive stat. And I think that might be the biggest downfall for this team. But otherwise, I think that it's pretty solid and has some potential for a lot of outplay.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've already, like, I'm already done prepping for this team. Like, I genned my stuff for it this morning. So I'm not, I won't go super into detail on, stuff that I've found more once I've started prepping, but it's really solid. Like, I mean, Grimmsnarl is just annoying. I mean, you guys really covered, pretty much what I was gonna say. So I think I'm good to move on to the next one if you guys are.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, we'll go to Kool-Aid's team. They took Kingambit, Mimikyu, Oranguru, Rabsca, Honchkrow, Clodsire, Torkoal, Brute Bonnet, Tropius, Quillfish, and Wugtrio. So this is another team with a relatively underdeveloped fast mode. He's got Mimikyu and Wugtrio, and Mimikyu even then is usually not run with a ton of speed investment. I mean, it can be obviously, but so this is another team kind of comparable to Jackie's. I think that the difference between this team and Jackie's team that I see is I don't know, like defensively I feel like you can just click Heat Wave into this team and it kind of just like wins. Because I mean the two fire resists in general are like Quillfish and Wugtrio, which aren't really gonna take those kind of hits that well anyway, and you're setting Sun. But there's obviously very strong units here. Kingambit Mimikyu is a really cool little two-mon core. Rabsca's great for Revival Blessing shenanigans. Oranguru Torkoal is very solid, as well as Torkoal giving Chlorophyll boost to Tropius and a Photosynthesis boost to Brute Bonnet. So like the offensive synergies are there, and but they're also a little obvious to me. And again, this is another one where your Tailwind setter is Honchkrow, unless I'm missing. I don't think Tropius gets it, does it?
It has wings. It probably gets it.
Well,
Hold on, I'm gonna try.
Hawlucha also has wings. Okay, it does. So your Tailwind setters are Tropius and Honchkrow, both of which are not the bulkiest things on the planet, and they're both pretty slow. I mean, obviously with Tropius you can set Sun, but yeah, I think defensively there's some pretty major holes here. But what do you guys think?
I like a lot of the pieces on this team. I do think it needs one or two more fast pieces.
Yeah.
And not spoiling much, but I believe Kool-Aid has a transaction plan based on questions that they've asked in general, which will be, I think, good for this team. Overall, I do like where they got Brute Bonnet in like round 5 or something in this division. I
True.
think Brute Bonnet's like a top 6 Pokemon in the format. I think it's potentially a number 1 overall pick. I'm probably a bit higher on it than most other people, but it's absolutely insane and flexible. And Brute Bonnet, Torkoal, King Gambit, Mimikyu, Oranguru, and Rapska, like just those 6 working together is maybe the strongest Trick Room mode in the division. So if it's probably going to be those 6 a lot of the time, but I do think that it is very good with those 6 working combination, especially because you don't need to run Booster Energy on Brute Bonnet to get the photosynthesis because you have Torkoal. But yeah, I think that covers my thoughts on this one. And I probably need to dip out again. I'm not sure I'll be back by the end of the next division, but I'll see you guys around.
All right. See you,
Sure.
dude. All right.
My
Toxic. You got anything to say?
wish there was something over base 100 outside of Volk Trio. Um,
Yeah.
like as y'all have already said, this team probably has the strongest trick room mode out of all of them. Very consistent trick room. Two very consistent trick room setters actually. Um, and then you got like King Gambit is like intimidate deterrent, which like I don't think this team wants to be intimidated that much anyway. But like sure, uh, it's got like cool. It can do like cool sets with Tailwind and Trick Room. Like you could just like no investment and do both. Um, Although I do think you might want other Tailwind setters. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
this team is like, generally pretty powerful.
Yeah. The
But I
the
do
reason.
think
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think the fast mode matchup needs to be improved significantly.
Yeah. My biggest issue is like Jackie has no Jackie has like doesn't have a ton of fast stuff, but the bulk on her team is so big that like sometimes she doesn't need it. Whereas I feel like this team doesn't quite have the bulk for it. Um, but that being said, I think we're done with this division. We're gonna move on to Finizen. I have to run to the bathroom. So Toxic, I'll leave it up to you if you want to just start on Charles's team, or if you want to take a break as well and come back in a few.
I'll also take an everything coming back in a view.
All right, we will be right back, guys.
Your favorite moderator has returned. Uh, I guess I might as well start reviewing Charles. Uh, so his team is made. His team has Roaring Moon, Taurus Blaze, Bronzong, Toadscroll, Tinkaton, Riolu Vaporeon, Frostlass, Rotom Heat, Tinglu, and Masquerain. So, like, as y'all already know, Roaring Moon, one of the top Pokemon, pretty versatile, but like Snarl and Tailwind. But it also mainly specializes in very fast offense. It's got like 119 speed, so it's like outspeeding a good chunk of the format. But it also has like really good coverage and an amazing physical attack. I actually think it has the highest physical attack in the format. I don't really know. Anyways, Tauros Blaze. Tauros Blaze is it's basically Tauros Aqua, but a fire type. It's got Intimidate. It's got a fire type move that breaks screens. It's got I don't think it has like support options. I don't really remember, but it's got like pretty high physical attack. I think it's got good coverage with that, so that's pretty cool. Bronzong is a very consistent trick room setter, and it that can also run like offensive sets and such. Um, it also it also completes the Psychic Dark fighting core, so that's pretty cool. Uh, Toadscroll is a very good Rage Powder. It's a very good Rage Powder Pokemon. It's not it's not the strongest in the world, but like it has like Rage Powder and Spore. I think that is a combination in Tier 3 is like very powerful in of itself. Uh, uh there's like Tinkaton for Fake Out. It covers the Fairy weakness for Roaring Moon pretty well. Uh, Riolu. It lost coaching, so like it's not. I don't think it's the best in the world anymore. Vaporeon is a very good bulky water. I that was actually one of the Pokemon I was looking at the most. It's bulky. It really benefits
I'm
from like
back.
unique. Yo, I was just about to talk about Vaporeon.
Hey.
Um, it's like it could do like really cool Terra typings to just like stall out your opponent with like chilling water and stuff. Frostlass is like fake out immune, icy wind. It can do like screams. Rotom Heat. It feels a little weird. Rotom Heat does feel a little weird with like Tauros Blaze on here, but I think it's fine. It's an electric type. Uh Ting Blue's like a really good trick room setter outside of Bronze Zone, and it can like spam Earthquake next to it, but also lower the special attack of Pokemon trying to target it. And Masquerain is Masquerain with Tailwind and Intimidate. So yeah, this team is just like generally pretty powerful overall. I don't think it has like the most versatile pieces in the world, but I think that's fine. It's got like a few weird repeat typings, but I also think that's fine. Yeah, I like this team. It's powerful. It's powerful. It's bulky. Yeah, your turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really good. I think that in general it's just super bulky, like you said. Um, like Roaring Moon, Tauros, Bronzong, Toadscroll, Tinkaton. Tinkaton's not that bulky, but Vaporeon, Rotom, Tinglu, like they're all really bulky. And just in general, I think this is going to be another team that might not care so much about speed control. Like it has good speed control. Like it's got Bronzong, it's got Roaring Moon for Tailwind. So it's not like it doesn't have it, but just the fact that it can just kind of exist and move second and still be okay because everything's so bulky, I think is a huge boon for this team. But yeah, I mean,
I
I don't
also
have.
think
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
this team like it also has the Frostlass is a very underrated speed control in my opinion. I
That
think
is
it's
true.
very good. But yeah, keep on going.
But yeah, I mean, that's all about all I have to say. I know it's kind of short. I don't think it's like a super.
I
This
don't think
kind of
super
reminds me of
detailed.
Dan's team, in the sense that
Yeah.
like there's good value. There's not a ton of like really outward synergy, but it's just like everything works together. It's not like there's anti-synergy. But yeah, that being said, I think we'll move on to Dr. Sloth. He took Chenpao, Abomasnosa, Titan, Flamigo, Bellybolt, Cloyster, Murkrow, Oranguru, Hariyama, Chansey, and Cryogonal. Okay, so this team has a very clear defensive hole that I want to get out of the way now. Um, it has 5 ice types, and then another mon on top of that that's weak to rock. It has no fire switch-ins, which is a little rough to me. And I'm only starting with the negatives like this because I think it's just the obvious thing that I look at when I see this team.
To
However,
be fair, Hariyama is a fire type switcher with like thick.
oh, true, it does have thick fat, right? Yeah, that's my bad. Um, but
Oh, keep
that
on going now.
yeah, I was just gonna say like fighting types look really good into this team. There's no switch-ins for those either. Um, yeah, there's not. Oh, Flamigo. There's Flamigo, which isn't the
Yeah,
best
the
isn't the best
Poke's called
position to be
Flamigo.
in. Yeah, exactly. So the defensive holes on this team I think are really rough. However, that being said, I do think it has a lot of cool. I saw this video a long time ago about it was a singles video. It was talking about like an overload type of team style where you just bring like 4 like rain and 4 water types and you just rely on the fact that your water moves are so strong that it doesn't matter what they have to deal with water types because they probably only have like 1 or 2 water checks. This team might function like that. I just wish there was like a better way to beat fire types because your water type is Cloyster, and I don't know if that's good enough to carry the weight that it has to on this team. Hariyama is a great answer to rock types, like I think, and Flamigo to a lesser extent. Like I think you've got that covered, and you do have wide guard for both Heat Wave and Rock Slide on Hariyama. And you have strong blizzards coming off of Abomasnow and Cryogonal. So it's definitely, again, like it's not like it's terrible. I just think that the defensive holes are going to provide a lot of issues for this team. What do you think, Toxic?
You pretty much just like said everything I was thinking of. Like the first time I looked at this team, I instantly thought like Rock Slide plus Combat Heat Wave. I mean, it it's not the worst team in the world, but I feel like you really have to like go hard on the trades and like invest in defensive synergy because this team is like really cool on paper, but like outside of that, you just kind of get beat up by like 3 typings, and like even then, they're just like the low tiers. You got like Cryogonal and Chansey. This is probably one of the worst teams to have Chansey on, considering the fighting type weakness. Something I'll give this team though is like it has like one of the most consistent speed control options in the format. Well, 2 of them with like a Rangaroo and Murkrow. So like they're gonna like really try to outspeed you and like blitz you, but outside of that, it's just like I don't know. I think the defensive holes are too great. They're way too great to like rate. If we were doing like ranking power rankings, like actual like quality, I don't know if I'd rank this super high, but I think it's super cool
I agree for
and
sure.
like got really good speed control options.
Yeah, Josh, he said in chat, this team looks badass. It definitely has issues, but it looks incredibly fun to watch. I agree. Um, but again, like I do think there's just going to be weeks where you get matched up into like a Rotom
A
Heat
Sun team.
or a Sun team, yeah, or like Rotom Heat, or I think there's a Cinderace in this division, things like that, and I
It,
just
act-
don't know how you beat those.
it actually really sucks to be fighting weak in this format.
There is
Actually,
there are fighting types galore in this format.
yeah, it actually really sucks to be this
Yeah.
weak to close combat.
All right. Well, I'm done with that team. If you are,
I am.
sweet.
Uh,
We can move on to
I
Bene's
guess I'll
team.
start off this.
Sweet.
So it has Masquerada, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Florges, or is it Florges? I don't really know. I think it's Florges. Um, Espeon, Swalot, Swalot, Palmot, Arcanine, Corviknight, Palisand, and Gumshoes. So like it just to start off with the top, Meowscarada, a very solid tier one. I don't think it's like one of the strongest ones, but it's also definitely not the weakest. It's got really cool utility options. It's a really good offensive Pokemon with good coverage. Dozo Tatsugiri. We're back to this again. I don't really think I need to discuss what this core does and like how and like the fact that you have to prep for it, you know. It's just like a good general core. It's actually really good with Meowscarada to cover for that fire weakness. Florges, just a really solid fairy type for Meowscarada. Espeon, I think this is the only Trick Room setter on this team. Uh,
Yeah.
that
Well,
kind of sucks.
Meowscarada
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
The only Trick Room setters are like fast Pokemon, which kind of sucks. I'll get to that though.
Florges doesn't get
Uh,
it, does it?
it should get it. It would be so much better with
Dang.
everything.
Yeah. That's rough.
Uh, Swalot is like a Pokemon that exists. I don't think it's ever gonna get used, but you know, it's a tier four. Um, Palmot is very cool, and I think this is the first time we've seen it so far. It's like one of the only two Pokemon that get Revival Blessing. It it gets Volt Absorb with like Tatsugiri Dodonzo, so that's pretty cool. Arcanine Arcanine completes the Fire Water Grass core. It it's a versatile mon with like intimidate, snarl, will-o-wisp, but also very powerful with like terra normal, extreme speed, and just generally close combat, flare blitz. Corviknight is a bulky monster. It's not as good in this format, considering anything could be a fire or electric type. But like, I think it's still really good, and it also sits tailwind. Palisand is Palisand, and Gumshoes is one of the best tier fours. Yeah, I like this team a lot, and if I looked at this team and you wanted me to guess whose it was, I would say Bene. It just screams him.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
agree for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, we saw this Dozo Giri with Meowscarada combo get taken in 3 of the divisions. Because it's also got taken in Quillfish. But yeah, I mean, it's super solid. I'm a little concerned about the damage output outside of the Dozo Giri combo being a little bit low. Um,
I
cause like,
think yeah. Oh, keep
cause
on. Yeah.
it's Masquerade and Arcanine are kind of carrying that, but I guess Palmot does damage too. So it's not like it has bad damage output. I just wonder if it might be a little low. But the bulk on this team is really good. Arcanine obviously helps with that with Intimidate. Um, yeah, I think this team is really solid. He got good tier fours. Well, Palisand is kind of it exists, but Gumshoes and Swallow I think are really solid for the tier. What were you gonna
My
say?
boy Gumshoe. Let's go. Uh, yeah, I think it got really good value out of every tier. I do agree. I do agree. Its damage output outside of like the top tiers will kind of suck.
Hmm.
Because like Corviknight, it does like damage with body press, but like,
Yeah, I got you.
uh, also it does kind of suck that your only Trick Room setters are just like Espeon and Meowscarada. So like I feel like this team, over everything would like try to reverse Trick Room,
Hmm.
but yeah, it doesn't really have a really good Trick Room though.
Yeah,
But it's also just like really bulky with Revival Blessing, and I think that alone just makes this team really good.
I agree. All right, moving on to bursts. Shambana Shellos. He took Annihilate, Gastrodon, Noivern, Rabska, Revavroom, Cacturn, Mousehold, Sylveon, Impidimp, Camerupt, and Electrode. So I think this team is really, really good. Obviously, we all have seen, if you've been paying attention to ladder at all, you've seen Annihilate, Mousehold everywhere. You've also probably seen Sylveons on those same teams. So that is also pretty crazy. And then Gastrodon is a super cool pairing for Camerupt to protect it from water moves, as well as you also have Cacturne just as a low tier way to switch into those as well. Revavroom is cool because it can kind of do Iron Head, Shift Gear type sets outside of Trick Room, or it can run. It's called Spin Out, I think, is its signature move, and
Yeah,
make itself a Trick Room mon, which I think is really cool. Um, and then the main thing I like about this team is nothing really overlaps roles. Like everything has a very unique and defined function on the team. Um, like nothing, like you've got Noivern as your Tailwind, Rabska. Oh, sorry, I'm like burping or something. Rabska as your Trick Room. I mean, you're supporting Annihilate really well with Friend Guard and with Impidimp screens. And Rabska Revival Blessing, I think, is a phenomenal thing to have on an Annihilate team. And I don't really see
agreed.
too many like defensive holes either, unless I'm missing something obvious. So I think this team is really solid. What do you think, Toxic?
I pretty much agree with everything you've said. Like this team, I'd say so far it's probably the coolest looking team on paper. Like Mousehold Annihilate is just insane. Like you said, it's population bombing to like a Terra type Annihilate, or just like bulking up next to Mousehold, or like Friend Guard boosted Annihilate. This Annihilate already doesn't die, but you have Friend Guard next to it, so have fun with that. But then you got like a Gastrodon that's just like he said it himself. It's a Dozogiri down there. But like it's also just really good on its own outside of like Dozogiri. Uh Noivern is probably one of the best tailwind setters to have for this team with like Super Fang and stuff. River Verm is cool to counter fairies. Rapska with Revival Blessing, like you said. With something like Annihilate that could just instantly recover its HP, that's kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
Cacturne is Cacturne. Sylveon's very powerful. Impidimp. Yeah, if you know me, you know I love Impidimp. And like Grimmsnarl, it also got a buff. This thing got screens, fake tears. It already got Thunderwave, but it also has terrain control now with like blocking Will-O-Wisp with Annihilate. Like this team is just really good overall. And it's even got like a pretty good Trick Room core with like Camera Up to Rapska. Like this team is just very powerful. I kind of love it. Like
Yeah.
I I've really grown to love this team.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge fan. I think it supports. This is kind of another one of the a same archetype as the Annihilate team um from Basculegion. That's kind of more of a protect the king type of team. Like everything here just screams like I'm letting Annihilate pop off. You have fast Tailwind. You have Revival Blessing. You have Rev of Room, which is defensively and offensively one of the best fairy answers. Um, you have screens, you have friend guard, you have redirection. You've got it all. So I think this team is really good. Yeah. All right, moving on. You got MK Devastators, Poke, and Chill. I assume that's
All right.
what the name is.
MK Devastator. His team,
Yes.
he has Amoonguss, Talonflame, Hattering, Bramblegast, Berserker, Lycanroc Midnight, Baxcalibur, Ironhearts, Lokix, Flareon, and Phalanx. Um, so we just right off the bat, Amoonguss, very solid pick. I'm not sure how good of a first. Yeah, I'm not sure how good of a first pick it is in this format, but like, if you're like Wheel or something, I think it's really good. Uh, Talonflame, very consistent tailwind setter, decently powerful, can run like support sets. Hatterene Amoonguss is like a Trick Room core, with like Berserker is very powerful as a whole. Like Hatterene is already very consistent as a Trick Room setter on its own, but you put that next to like a monster like Amoonguss, and it's just like insane. It's very consistent, and 9 times out of 10, he's probably gonna want to set Trick Room. Brambleghast, it has really cool synergy with Talonflame with like Wind Rider, just enabling Brambleghast to be an offensive monster. I don't know how good its coverage is, but I bet it's like half decent.
It also is
And
like
then like
randomly immune to like what heat wave and icy wind and stuff too.
yeah, so I can't even knock it for like having a shared weakness with Among Us. It's barely a grass type.
Hmm.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it can't be weak to like air slash or anything, can it?
I think it's immune to air slash too. So yeah, I mean
Hold on.
its coverage isn't great.
Yeah,
I mean it pretty
that's
much
kind of
gets grass
crazy.
and ghost moves and that's it. But it gets shadow sneak, which is cool, and beat up.
Yeah, that's really good. Uh, like in Rock Knight, it's definitely a tier 4 mon that I don't really care for, but like, it's got no guard shenanigans with Stone Edge in a non-max format. It's gonna do work. Bax Caliber next to a Moongus is very powerful. Um, like just being able to set up Dragon Dance for the most part, and just like
Hmm.
being able to steamroll like next to Talonflame and just blitz people is really cool. Iron Treads, like next to Talonflame, being able to spam Earthquake. You could do like setup sets next to a Moongus and spam like Iron Defense and start going nasty with Body Press. Low kicks is very cool. I don't know how good its objective value is, but it's like tinted lens with first impression. That's all I know.
Yeah, and
Flareon is
sucker
like
punch.
yeah, and Sucker Punch. Flareon is just like it's a fire type in like the lower tier. You already got Talonflame, so I really don't understand it. And I don't really understand Phalanx either, but it's like a fighting type, it's fine. The main issue I have with this team is like its speed control options are really good, and its individual fast and slow modes are very good. But like it has a pretty glaring fighting type weakness. And like all teams that only have reach powers redirection, you really gotta watch out for goggles, man. And Terra Grass. And Terra Grass.
Woo. But yeah, I think this team is really solid. I think that the combo of like I actually think that Baxcalibur might be the best piece here, just in terms of like how well it's supported and how well I think it'll do. Because like you have
Yeah.
priority tailwind for it, you have redirection for it, you have like good switch-ins to its weaknesses, like Hatterene for fighting types, Flareon or Iron Treads for steel types or fairy types. Like you have good defensive support for it. I think it's really well built around Baxcalibur in particular. But I do think like Amoonguss Hatterene is a really great way to get Trick Room up, and yeah, I think that it's going to be really good. And then you have Intimidate Deterrent with Defiant Phalanx as well.
I'm actually really satisfied with like how well he built around like heat wave spam. Cause like Excalibur is like you don't want to click fire moves in front of that anyway, do you?
And
Like
Flareon has Flash
Bramblegas
Fire.
gets a boost. Yeah, and then like Bramblegas gets a boost from Heat Wave.
Yeah.
Like wow,
And
that is
Heatwave is
actually really good.
one of the standard like most common obvious counterplays to Amoonguss. So I think that's really cool that he has that. Plus he has like Berserker Steely Spirit next to Iron Treads could be cool as well. Um,
Ooh, yo, that sounds sick.
but yeah, I'm a fan of this team. I think it's really good. Speed control
Yeah,
is
I think
very
it's really
solid.
good.
Yeah. Well, that being said, we'll move on to
We'll move
Toby's
on to my
team.
goat.
I know Toby's still here. He's got to
Yeah,
be
you
here.
know he's up in here.
Alright, so Toby has Brute Bonnet, Pelipper, Raichu, Floatzel, Donphan, Muck, Gothitelle, Haxorus, Magnezone, Persian, and Hypno. So, I think this team is pretty solid. I think that, so obviously the kind of the main thing you've got going on here is the rain mode. You have some doubling up on typings, but I mean the rain mode it's necessary, and you have two electric types, but I don't really mind them on the same team because you have a plethora of ground answers here, namely Brute Bonnet, Pelipper, and Floatzel. So like I'm not really worried about having those both here. Um, I ran a similar core in Sandbox and it worked really. Magnezone worked really great with the Rain core and Raichu. I think that the cool part about this team is like the diversity of threats it has. Like the rain mode is super scary, but Brute Bonnet next to Dragon Dance Haxorus is really scary. Plus you have a Shadow Tag Mon for like to trap so that you can't so that they can't switch manual weather in or uh, I think Shadow Tag in general is really good on these kind of like core based teams that are really good on lead matchups. Is because like, oh well, I have Gothitelle next to Haxorus, and you led your mon that dies to Haxorus, but now you're trapped, or you led whatever. And I mean I know you can't lead Rain plus Gothitelle because that's 3 Pokemon, but said stroke my ego. I'll stroke something else.
Hey yo, no, chill.
I'm sorry that that was out of pocket. I'm so tired, dude. I got like no sleep last night. Um, thanks, Toby. You distracted me. It's all your fault. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So basically, team is good, and I do think it's. I don't know. Not even really. I was gonna say it's a little Trick Room week, because like your slowest things are 50. But like Donphan functions well enough inside Trick Room, and
And also, Gothitelle is just like generally a good trick room reversal. Also, I know Brute Bonnet isn't as slow as the Mungus, but like it's still good trick room deterrent.
yeah. Plus you've got good priority in like Floatzel, Aqua Jet, Haxorus First Impression, Brute Bonnet Sucker Punch. Donphan I guess gets Ice Shard, but you've got good options there to just fight inside Trick Room regardless. Um, but yeah, what do you think, Toxic?
I love this team. Brute Bonnet with Rain is so cool. Uh, you got like you got like really cool. You got really good fake out users. Like I don't I don't think we've seen like a team with two good fast fake out users, and I think that's really good. Raichu and Rain is obviously good. Donphan to cover for electric weaknesses is good. Muck is Muck. It's like whatever. It it's there. It's a good tier four. Gothitelle in a non-X format is kind of insane. All of its abilities are good. It can run like offensive sets next to Brute Bonnet. Now that I think about it, it can set screens for this team. It can quick fake out. It can reveal items. I mean, it even deters Intimidate for like Brute Bonnet for like Floatzel. It reverses Trick Room too,
Mm-hmm.
so that's good. Haxorus works really well on this team because it can just like redirect, not redirect. Oh my lord, it can Dragon Dance next to the redirection.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a format where Haxorus can redirect. Anyway,
Oh man. Um.
Magnezone. A lot of people won't be able to like understand Magnezone since like Raichu's on this team, but I still think it's really good considering that Brute Bonnet and Rain covers his ground weakness. Uh,
Yeah.
like I said, Persian's like really good, a really fast fake out user, with really good support, and Hypno is inner focus trick room. Granted, I don't think it does anything different than Gothitelle outside of inner focus trick room, but it's fine. Uh,
The other thing
yeah,
to
I
note
really like
is
this.
the other thing to note is that we were talking about earlier how there's only like what 6 Mons above 100 with fake out. 2 of them are
And he
here.
has two,
And then he also has a
like the
third
slow
with
fake out
Gothitelle.
user.
Um,
Yeah, like
so he's got
that's
3
really
fake out.
cool.
Yeah, triple fake out with two of them being some of the more consistent uh, fake out Mons in general. I just think that's just super solid. Um, and then as Joey said, he
Hypnosis,
does have
bro. Oh
hypnosis.
my
He
god.
has 2 hypnosis users.
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
3. Gothitelle Persian hypnosis.
I just got a devious idea.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Let's move on before I start going crazy.
All right.
Yeah,
Kev's team. Who started the last one? I don't even remember,
you
bro.
did.
Okay, you want to start on this one?
This man is so tired. Yeah, I'm gonna start this. So this team is like Fluttermane, Sableye, You have Fluttermane, Sableye, Pachirisu, Luxray, Scyther, Skuntank, Palafin, Serena, Pyroar, Fortress, and Braviary. Just to start off at the top, Fluttermane, really good Pokemon, one of the best in the format. Sableye, like the last team that had Fluttermane, had Sableye on it. I don't know how this happened twice, but it happened. Pachirisu's a really good redirector. Oh, I didn't really go for Sableye. It has like Fake Out. It's like Fake Out immune. It's good speed control. Anyway, Pachirisu's like a redirector. I don't think it gets Fake Out, but it gets
It
like really
doesn't.
good support moves like screens and also Luxray is a little weird when you got Pachirisu right there, but I think it's fine. Luxray is like actually powerful. It can run like support sets. It's got Intimidate. It's cool. You can even like run Guts next to Pachirisu and just like get good setup and start sweeping. Scyther, I think it gets Tailwind. You don't quote me on that, but I think it gets
Yes, it
Tailwind.
does. It does.
Sweet. So it's like a good Tailwind setter. Well, I don't know about good, but it's like
I
it's
mean,
a
it's
Tailwind setter.
it's base 105, so it's definitely like workable.
Yeah, and it's got like cool offensive sets with Technician. And actually, I think I remember if you're like Terra to a type and your move is under like a certain base power, it gets a boost if it's stab. I
Um.
don't remember.
Yes. Which move are you thinking of?
Not like a certain move, but like moves under a certain base power can like get a boost if
Oh,
you're
for
Terra.
Scyther.
Well, not just for Scyther, but like generally.
Oh, yes. As long as they're not priority and not multi-hit, they will get a
Okay,
buff up to 60 base power. So
okay, that's
so I guess that would benefit Technician, right? Because everything would go up to
yeah,
60, which would mean it goes
yeah.
up
So
to
then you have
90.
like a bunch of base 90 moves. That's actually really cool. Um,
Base 90,
Skun,
does it get Faint? Base 90, Terra Normal Faint.
yeah.
That's good.
Skuntank, as we've already discussed, is like really cool. It's really good. It's got like haze and snarl and stuff. It's surprisingly bulky. It's surprisingly powerful. It's gonna be a really cool glue piece, even though that's tier 4. I think it's gonna be a glue piece. Palafin on this team is really cool. You have a really good physical attacker with Flutterman.
Hey,
Did someone
Ryan's
just
here.
join?
Ryan's here.
Yo,
What's up, Ryan?
Not a whole lot. Just finished up work. Thought I'd hop on for the team stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, we're about a third of the way through Finizen, and we're just stopping at Finizen tonight.
That seems
Sorry,
fair.
Trunks.
I'm also sad. Um, Anywho, like just like being able to set up Palafin next to Patrick Reese is really cool because like they can't like they don't like discharge because it has like bulk absorb, but like
Yeah,
you could just like flip turn next to a follow me user. Like I mentioned earlier, Serena with Flutterman is very good. Being able to just stop priority overall is very powerful. Pyroar is a fire type that exists. It's very cool, pretty fast, and it's pretty powerful. Fortress overall is just like it's a solid tier 4. It's a bug steel type with one weakness that it has sturdy. It's fine. Braviary's got like tailwind and defiant, so that's pretty cool. Like this team, it's also a little unorthodox like the other Fluttermane team, but overall it's still like really good and has a lot of good pieces that I think a good coach like Cavs can take advantage of. Uh, what about y'all?
Ryan, do
Um,
you wanna give your thoughts here?
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of glancing through now. By the way, a Scyther does get faint this gen week.
Hey, let's go Terra Normal. Oh no, it's priority. It wouldn't get the. Never mind. Ignore me. I literally just said that
Um,
moves don't get buffed with priority,
So
but
I really, really like Sableye this gen a lot, and I actually do
yes,
like it quite a bit on this team. Because it kind of gives it a little bit more like both Sableye getting screens is really nice.
that's
There's even
crazy.
Mimi stuff too. Like I would love to see like a weakness policy Fluttermane. That'd be funny. So there's some goofy stuff with that Mon, and I think it synergizes well with a lot of the team. Pachirisu is another support piece Mon. I think one of the biggest things I'm seeing with this team is that it's got some nice offensive pieces, but I'm not 100% sure how it's going to navigate its offense. I also don't love
Oh,
Pachi and I don't know how much I like the Pachi and the Luxray on the same team. Obviously, they don't both have to come in the same week, but I feel like those are similar-ish like value slots, if that makes sense. There's also just not a lot of great defensive switch-ins for this team. Like ground types are really good into this team. Like you can kind of just like click Earthquake on most things. There are some resists, obviously, and stuff like Braviary, Scyther are immune. But there are some core component mons that are a little weak to that sort of thing that I'm a little worried about. Same with like Quick Slide in general looks good here into a lot of this team, which is something you got to be a little careful with. Um, and nothing strikes me as like overtly synergistic outside of like some of the pivoting and things you can do with some of the monsters. Nothing here that makes me go, oh yeah, like I slot these 4 mons in for a given week and then this mode happens. This team doesn't really have a lot of that from what I'm seeing, unless I missed something from your earlier analysis.
No, I think I would agree. Um,
Which isn't bad. I mean, it's nice to have a team that you can kind of fill in for, but having well-defined, like having some well-defined, like these two Pokemon work really, really well together every time, kind of options is nice on a team, kind of throughout a team, and I'm not seeing a ton of those here.
hmm And side note, if you want to run weakness policy Flutter Mane, you only have to do minimum 33% to it.
Yeah, it's because Fluttermane's really, really bulky, which is actually one of my concerns with the team.
it's
Is
very
like
too bulky.
Yeah, it's too bulky.
it's too bulky. Yeah. No, this team has a little bit of some issue. I'm a little worried about, like, it's got some stuff. Like, Serena can take a good hit. Luxray can take a hit pretty okay.
Elephant is surprisingly
Braviary, Palafin is bulky, but, like, a lot of your, like, top support mons, like, Fluttermane, Sableye, Pachirisu, like, that's not a lot of bulk there. At least, so I don't know. This is a team you'll have to play careful and prep very careful with. Is kind of my vibe. I think it'll work though. It's got some cool stuff that I like.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
Stuntank's pretty cool, by the way.
Mhm.
That mon's kind of cool. Sick this
Yeah,
year.
Skuntank is awesome. Well, you guys said pretty much all I was going to say about it, so I'm cool to move on if you guys are.
Hey, Ryan, you want to start this next one?
Sure. What's this next one?
Third, not third or nothing.
Team
right?
third or
Oh, yeah,
nothing.
Third or nothing. Okay.
Let's go.
What happens if he gets second? Does he have to change
I
his
don't
name?
know. I
He just
don't know.
forfeits.
Or
He
fourth?
forfeits.
Yeah. What if he gets
He's-
fourth? I mean, like, I have too many questions.
I do too. Yeah, this is an interesting team. I really like Iron Valiant, Sarah Ledge on the same team. We'll start there. Those two just work incredibly well together. I think that's really, really nice. Glamour Zanon, I'm really interested to see how coaches use it. It strikes me as Nihilego Light. That's kind of how I'm viewing that mon for now. Which is to say, I think it's going to be inconsistent on a week-to-week basis. Like there will be some weeks where Glamora is absolutely incredible, and there will be weeks where maybe it's not so much. I think Terra helps with that though, because I think it's a mon where it's offensively held like offensively the typing's good, but defensively that typing holds it back a lot. So I think like good Terra usage on Glamora will help you get a lot more weekly use out of it. The Dunsparce is a pretty good Pokemon this gen, honestly. The ability, especially to like break protect for things like Iron Valiant, is really, really, really nice. Dreadnought is generally pretty good. She doesn't have Pellet Burr. It doesn't look like. Does Grim? I thought. Does
No,
Grim
it doesn't
get?
get much.
I was about to say, does Grim not get weather this gen?
Nope, it still doesn't,
doesn't.
thankfully.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
So that's going to be manual rain, which I don't love.
I don't-
that.
Yeah, Iron
And
Valiant doesn't get it, so I don't know what's even setting it. I mean, to
yeah,
be fair, it gets Shell Smash, so like you could still just Shell Smash with it, but
absolutely.
Hey,
not having Rain
Rain
isn't
hit Umbreon.
I mean, yeah, Umbreon
leave.
setting lane would make sense. Umbreon, by the way, is a really nice pick on this team. It's a good pivot piece for. I do like having good like defensive pivots. I think that piece is really nice defensively here. Rotomo's excellent. I'm a big fan of Rotomo. I've been standing it. Grimmsnarl is incredible. Obviously, I think Grimmsnarl is a top draft mon this gen. I don't know how I feel though about having Iron Valiant and Grimmsnarl on the same team. I mean, they do very different things, but doubling up fairy typing is,
Yeah.
and they're also both fairy types that are like weak to fairy, in your like top tier 1 slots. So that to me defensively is a little suspect because there's a lot of things on this team already that I'm seeing like, oh, that would make for a good Terra option. And when I'm seeing that and looking at your two of your top mons and thinking those might need to defensively Terra a lot, that feels a little bad. Um, Go-Goat's really good value for the tier. Ice-Q's really cheeky. It can do some fun stuff. Biggest thing I'm seeing with this team is really speed tiers.
Yeah.
There is a lack of speed control overall. Like your best speed control is Grimmsnarl because Rotom-Mo lost Electro Web and the generational shift. So, like, what here controls the speed?
Does Iron Valiant
Yeah,
get
I
Icy
mean,
Wind?
it does. It
Yeah.
does.
It
also
does,
gets Trick
but
Room.
I don't know if you want Iron Valiant to be clicking Icy Wind
Yeah,
instead of
I do.
No,
Boom
yeah.
Blast.
It's like that and Thunderwave Grimmsnarl, and that's pretty much where it ends,
And
I
that's,
think.
Yeah,
well, Fairy Face Grimmsnarl, which is very good this gen, I might add. But
I yeah, I do agree. The speed tiers do need a little improvement, and I also think a lot of the repeat typings on this team are kind of weird because you
Mhm.
got like Glamora and Toxapex, you got Dreadnought and Toxapex, you got like Umbreon and Grimmsnarl. Like I know
Yeah,
Umbreon's supposed to be like a bulky Pokemon that's supposed to sit in the back and be annoying, but also it mostly does the same thing.
yeah. I'm mostly worried about those top tier fairy types, but you're absolutely right on that being a definite potential concern.
Yeah,
A
it
lot of good
also has
Scarf on this team.
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of
Man,
great
It,
Scarfers.
man, I wish Rotom still got Electro Web.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
so
That
sad.
sucks.
But that's kind of my big thing. This team's very strong, evidently. Like it's got a lot of good offensive output, which I think is good. Um, it's just that I am not 100% on like if defensively the team can hold itself together, and I'm not sure how it's going to deal with things like my opponent clicked Tailwind.
Yeah.
Yet, or my opponent clicked Trick Room. Like I don't like Trick Room. This team actually does handle a lot better with the Umbreon, Grimmsnarl, stuff like that is really good in Trick Room. But and it can handle that a little better. But I am really worried about what happens when this team just faces something that can blitz it. That can match that output and then blitz it down.
Yeah. I think overall, I mean, yeah, I think we've touched on the main defensive holes. I do think offensively, like, the team's got enough punch.
Mhm.
Like, Glamora's super strong, base 130 special attack. Rock and Poison is a great offensive typing. Ceruledge, we all know. If you've been on ladder at all, you've probably seen a couple of these. So, like, the damage output's there. It's just, yeah, I think defensively and speed control wise, like you guys said, I think it leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yeah. And it has a lot of options too. This is a solid flowchart team. And
Yeah.
it does have good defensive pivots here and there, especially the Umbreon. That's a nice, like, come in on a super effective attack so you can use your Terra elsewhere. It's a good mon for that kind of thing. But yeah, that's really I would agree with you there.
Cool. Is that all we have to say on this one?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, I'll start this next one. Epic 17X or the...
The go.
Wait,
Hey.
are they not the Chevy Chase Cyclozars anymore?
Uh.
I guess they changed it.
All right.
I kind of liked the
Yeah.
the Chevy Chase Cyclozars, but this is cool too. Anyway, They have Indeedee F, Armor Rouge, Staraptor, Zoroark, Toxtricity, Cloth, Hydreigon, Gengar, Lycanroc, Dusk, Tropius, and Quagsire. So I think, I mean, obviously the standout thing here is Indeedee F, Armor Rouge. I think Zoroark also slots in with those two really nicely in terms of switching into their weaknesses, but also being a cool little illusion mon, especially with like the fake out immunity being guaranteed by psychic terrain. I think that's really cool. But then I just think that like this team has a lot of cool stuff that wants redirection. Like I even think like Reckless Staraptor next to redirection is really good. I think Hydreigon with Nasty Plot next to it is really good. Gengar just in general and Lycanroc both are frail, so they both like it. So this team really makes the most out of the Indeedee F pick. A concern I have is that once Indeedee F goes down, like almost everything here just kind of gets one tapped, and so I'm a little concerned about the bulk outside of Indeedee, which granted Indeedee does do a lot for the bulk of a team. But I think in general, like Toxtricity's cool here. Like you can do Boom Burst next to Gengar, even though you are making yourself extremely Earthquake weak. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts here?
I hold on. I was totally looking at the wrong team. I I really like this team. I think it's really cool, but I do generally agree. Like outside of Hydreigon and like Tropius and Staraptor, this team is pretty Earthquake weak, and also the things that don't get hit by Earthquake also get hit by Rock Slide. Like,
True.
like,
Love
and
my
then
combo.
yeah, actually, Fred moves in general kind of like this team a
He
lot.
does have wide guard.
Yeah, Armorage helps a lot with
Yeah,
that.
it definitely helps a lot with that. But like outside of that, it does kind of hurt.
Yeah.
But like this team looks really cool. It has good speed control from Indeedee, Armrouge, and Staraptor, and I guess Hydreigon, and I guess technically Tropius.
Boo.
Technically.
Technically.
There's a key word there.
Technically,
Yeah.
but that's all I gotta say. It's cool.
I have some thoughts on this team for sure. One thing I'm worried about with this team is when I'm looking at a lot of like the big output mons, right? The Armourouge, the Zoroark, the Toxtricity, the Hydreigon, the Gengar. Those are all special. Like the only two physical
Snarl.
attackers on this team are
Oh, you're right.
Staraptor and
Lycanroc. And
then there's
Cloth.
this fun thing. There's this item called Psychic Seed that raises your SPDF in Psychic Terrain on a team very centered around Indeedee. So my primary concern for this team is that people will run like Psychic Seed and AV Mons into it, and it's just not going to be able to break those Mons easily. And I feel like this team, I'm running into this a little bit because my sandbox team has the same problem. I have like 2 physical attackers on the whole team, and it feels bad because I kind of have to bring those Mons often. So you're going to be forced into bringing things like Staraptor and that Lycanroc Dusk, even when you don't want to, because the team itself doesn't have a lot of incredible physical output. This is a really good like nuker team. Like you can kind of like click buttons your first couple turns and like kind of try to nuke through an enemy. My primary concern is that I feel like the counterplay that is available for that nuking isn't actually that awful. People can just like click snarl, like fast snarl into you is really good. Like there's a lot of like ways I can see people prepping and building around this team that will make it so that the insane output that it does have can be halted a lot better because this is a draft league setting where people can prep specifically for this team, which I think can cause it some issues on that front. I think it's really good. It's going to get some really fun pop-off wins. I do think that as far as building an Indeedee team goes, I think this is pretty solid. My big piece of advice would be to maybe consider dropping one of your special attackers for like another solid physical attacker, maybe kind of a
Tropius.
bulkier one.
Tropius doesn't count.
Tropius isn't a Pokemon. Uh, so that is sort of my thoughts on this team. Is that I think that you're gonna run into, as people figure out how to counterplay you, that it will be a little difficult to manage that.
I suspect that the Quagsire will probably only come week 4 against the Dondozo team. I was just checking to see if he plays the Dondozo team because
Yeah. Quag does completely wall it. So yeah, that's. Anyone have anything they want to add to what I said?
I'm
No.
pretty good, I think.
I'm good.
Sweet.
Okay.
So,
All right. Favorite
Joey.
team in the division. Let's go.
All right. So Joey, he has Chi-Yu, Esparta, Kilowattrel, Ursaring, Dragougi, Dugtrio, Breloom, Klefki, Iron Bundle, Mischievous, and Skiploom. So right off the bat, Chi-Yu is a very powerful Pokemon, and it's definitely one of the top picks in the format. It can basically blast through anything with low special defense. It's got really powerful heat waves and very powerful dark pulses, and can even set up on you. And it can even run like support sets with Will-O-Wisp and Snarl, so that's pretty cool. Espartha's really good synergy with Chi-Yu. Honestly, I'm actually gonna get this out the way. If you were like to ask me what team has the most powerful special attackers, it would probably be this team. This team is like special attacker on special attacker on special attacker. It's very powerful on that front. But yeah, Sparta covers the fighting weakness for Chi-Yu. Has really high blitz potential with speed boost, but can also be like support with Trick Room, or like find out what item you have, or even just copy your setup. So it can do some really cool sets with that. Kilowattrel is very consistent Tailwind. Probably my favorite Tailwind setter in Tier 2. Covers the water weakness from Chi-Yu and the fighting weakness. It even stops Snarl with competitive.
Yep, which is really big for this team.
Yeah, that's really big for this team. Ursaring, one of the few physical attackers for this team. I'll get to that. It's really good with all the Pokemon, well, specifically Sparkle and Kilowattrel, that cover like its fighting weaknesses. Ursaring on this team is really good. I feel like it could potentially with as good Trick Room setters as this team has, it could just run like it could be ran under Tailwind with like Guts, but also under Trick Room. Speaking of Trick Room, Dragougi, that's a really good pick. And with Chi-Yu and adaptability, this Pokemon's gonna really be taking souls. Dugtrio is really good. Arena Trap in Tier 4 is good value. It also has like general good support. And it's a really cool Disc-Quake combo with Kilowattrel since they can't really switch in anything. Breloom is really cool and also one of the few physical attackers on this team. It can be round to Trick Room and Tailwind and just spam Spore, but it also does cool Technician stuff with Bullet Seed and Mach Punch. I don't know if it has the best bulk. I don't really remember. But like I remember it being
Breloom?
fairly bulky.
No.
Breloom
is a focus sash mon most of the time.
Yeah.
It dies to a breeze. I've been using
Okay.
it. I've used Breloom more than everyone. So yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty frail, which is okay. This team is pretty bulky, surprisingly, on the whole. So
Speaking of bulk, Klefki with the screens helps this team out, and it can also click Metal Sound. So if you thought you were special weak before against this team, you become even more special weak. It also
and Clef
covers
got Trick Room this gen.
Yeah, this is also one of the other Trick Room setters for this team. And with Fairy Steel, it's actually fairly consistent, surprisingly.
Man, bro, I wish that Dragougi still got Sludge Wave, dude. They didn't have to do him like that.
Don't even get me started on
Dragougi
removing
Klefki would be
all
so
of this.
sick.
It would.
I mean, it's still good, but if it had Sludge Wave, it'd be extra cool.
Iron Bundle in this team is really good. Uh, I do it. It's probably one of the most consistent speed control options outside of like actual tailwind setters. Chi just lowering special defense and allowing Iron Bundle to just start blasting is really good. Uh, Miss Drevis is like a really good tier 4 option, another Trick Room setter, but it actually can't be faked out. It's got really cool support sets. And with Evilite, it can actually tank some hits, and it's like decently powerful, so that's cool. And Misdreavus, not Misdreavus, Skiploom is redirection with really good, with like screens and tailwind. So
Yeah,
overall,
and 80
this
base
team,
speed for fast sleep powder.
yeah. So overall,
Um,
this team is really good.
does
My
Klefki
main
get
issue,
weather this gen? I think
it does.
because that
Yes.
also means you could have a Skiploom Klefki lead with chlorophyll. That's very
Dearly.
funny.
My
Um,
main issues with this team are just like I really wish you had more physical attackers because the physical
Yeah.
attackers you have are very powerful, but also like ah, as much as I like the special power from this, I feel like more physical attackers could really help. Also, I think this team is like fairly frail because like hear me out, okay? Shiyu, I'm pretty sure Beats of Ruin also like lower your own special defense.
yep, it does.
And Iron Bundle special defense is 60. Uh, that kind of sucks. And also, both of your top tiers are weak to fighting too. Granted, that's kind of covered for, but it's fine. But like outside of that, I kind of love this team. It it has really high blitz potential under Trick Room and outside of Trick Room, and it's really cool and it's really powerful. I'm done. Thank you for listening to my TED talk.
Okay. Like, I'll let you go next.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to say that Toxic didn't. Honestly, I think the stuff he touched on about this team being maybe just a tad bit special heavy um, is valid. I do think special heavy with Chiyu is never a bad thing because you're just giving yourself more options to boost or to benefit from Chiyu. Plus, you have Espathra's signature move, whatever it's called, that's like fake tears and an attack, which goes dummy on this team.
Ridiculous.
So I mean, this team is really solid. You've got good enough speed control because you have the fastest, second fast. No, is Kilowatch was the fastest non-priority tailwind outside of like outside of like
things like jugs with booster and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah, like just base stat wise, it's the fastest. And then you also obviously have Iron Bundle with Icy Wind and Klefki's a good Trick Room setter. So yeah, I mean, again, mostly stuff Toxic already said, but other than being a slight bit special heavy, I think this team is really good. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, this is my favorite team. I think there's so much. First off, I actually kind of disagree that it's too special heavy, because with how Chiyu's ability interacts and with Metal Sound and Espathra doing the Lumina Crash stuff, I mean, like Chiyu is a Pokemon that can like overheat, can like borderline 2-hit KO Blissey. Like
Yeah, I
like
know it won't matter too much, but
like
also,
when you have the ability to get almost anything you want to -2, like obviously clear amulet's an item, but like when you can get most of a team to -2 for basically free, I think that's pretty ridiculous, especially with attacking stats as high as this team has. It can absolutely blow through special walls, and mons with ABs and things like that aren't really going to
Yeah.
eat stuff well. So I'm not that worried about the special physical split on this particular team because of Chiyu's ability and how much this team is able to lower special defense. Yeah, I think Skiplin's one of the best tier 4 options. Misdreavus is
Agree.
also, I believe, he has Perish Trap as well.
Wait, does he have?
Because
Oh,
Yeah, he has Doug Trio. Yeah.
Misdreavus plus Doug Trio is Perish Trap.
That is the
And
funniest. That is the
pretty-
funniest Perish Trap setup.
And it's actually not even bad Perish Trap. I've used a Misdreavus Perish Trap before.
No,
It works.
you could
fine.
also like you can also
Um,
even just like bulldoze / EQ next to it too with Doug Trio. Like they have like good synergy together as well. Yeah.
Yes. They actually do. It's really funny. It's actually it's really memey. I like it. Yeah, most of this team can operate in crazy well under Tailwind. A lot of the Mons hit well under Trick Room. I think Breloom is going to be really nice on this team because one thing I will say, Skiploom does lose value in part because Breloom's on this team because opponents will be teching safety goggles to account for Breloom like
True.
sporing them. So Skiploom does lose a little bit of value as like a fast like rage powder sleep powder bot a little bit because people will be bringing safety goggles into this team, and I genuinely think that's my only issue with this team. I think this team has some of the easiest like slot and
Steamer.
play I'm gonna win turn 3 potential of any of the teams I've seen in GLDL. I think it's really unique and kind of creative. I think that the output is insane from all angles, and I think that how multimodal and multi-layered this team is makes it an absolute nightmare to prep for. This of the teams I've been on for this division, this one's my favorite, and I'll have to go back and kind of look through some of the other teams. But as of now, this is my favorite team in the division. So
Yeah, I really vibe with it.
Yeah, I like it. All right, next up, the
Michael.
Asado Desert Great Tusks, aka
what a
our dad himself.
my dad.
Okay, so this team is honestly hilarious. So we have Great Tusk, Lilligant, Skeledirge, Leafeon, Clawitzer, Pikachu, Wugtrio, Charizard, Quaquaval, Cinderace, and Shroodle. First off, okay, let's just address the elephant in the room here. 2 Chlorophyll users, 3 Fire types, and your Sunsetter is Shroodle.
Son with the sun.
So, oh my gosh. Um, so it's not the best in terms of like supporting the immense amounts of Sun abusers it took. Obviously Skeletors and Cinderace like Sun a lot, but and so does well, yeah, I mean those two do. I wouldn't necessarily call them Sun abusers because they don't have like abilities that specifically benefit from Sun. However, 4 other Mons on the team, Charizard, Leafeon, Lilligant, and Great Tusk, all do directly benefit from the Sun with their abilities. And I frankly don't think that Shroodle setting Sun is enough to warrant that much reliance on Sun because like if you don't have Sun up with this team, like Clawitser's great, and Wugtrio's a fine tier 4, but also like you have 3 water types as well, and there's just a lot of overlap. I do think that like the bulk here is actually surprisingly like good enough, and I think that Skeledirge is probably gonna end up being like a Terra target on this team, like maybe probably a majority of the time, just because of like how good it is here defensively.
Oh, Skeledirge.
um, but like, and again, the only reason I start by listing off the problems is that they're just very apparent, when you look at it. But what do you guys think?
I gotta say this right off the bat before I like start getting into legitimate criticisms. I know this is supposed to be like a whole like talking about the goods of a team and the bads of a team, but like I gotta say, so far this is like the funniest team I've
This
seen.
team is funny as shit. Yeah.
He's my man's rocking the Sun team with no Sun. He's rocking the triple fire starter core. Uh, he can do like water pledge and fire pledge. Whenever this team works, it's gonna be funny and it's gonna be fun to watch. And I really like it for fun fact. However, if we're talking the objective factor, this team, it's really missing a more consistent sunsetter and like more consistent speed control as a whole. Because it has like min speed Pokemon, like not min speed, middle speed, like Great Tusk, Skeledirge, Clawitzer, and like Quaquaval. Although Quaquaval can like do speed stuff on its own, but I think it's missing some speed control. It's got really weird repeat typings, uh, and that will make it so you have a lot of weird common weaknesses. Like that's all I gotta say. This team is weird and it's funny. That's all. for me.
Ryan?
Yeah. So the thing with repeat typings is that there is definitely an argument to make that repeated typings are less of a big deal because you can always Terra to another type, right? And I'm sure that we'll hear that from people. But the problem is that this is a little much. Like, you can't Terra around this many weaknesses that are shared amongst a team. There is surprisingly solid diversity amongst mons that are the same type. Like Skeletorge has the secondary Ghost type, and Charizard
Yeah.
has the secondary Flying type. So there's like definitely some stuff helping out, right? Like, but yes, this team really desperately needs. Everyone's saying a Sunsetter. What they mean is Torkoal. This team needs Torkoal on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Which unfortunately another team has. So
that's
I don't know if that's
really
ever
what
happening.
It needs.
Wait
A lot
minute.
of the doubled up typings too. Like this team is very. This team has a pretty good mix of special physical offense, but a lot of things are also just like mons that click the offensive move, right? Like there's not enough support pieces I feel on this team. You got like Lilligant and Trudel.
Hey, don't sleep on Cinderace as a support option.
It's got two mons that are support options
I hate
because
you.
I'm pretty sure Wugtrio doesn't like have any good moves.
No, it runs like Water Stab and like Aqua Jet and Protect and
it can
something
memento,
else.
so it gets off the field faster.
Final Gambit.
Oh yeah, 35 HP Final Gambit. I forgot.
My favorite move.
So yeah, I don't know. This team, Tailwind looks really good into it. Trick Room looks pretty good into it. There's a lot of.
They don't have a single Tailwind or Trick Room set in.
I don't.
Correct.
Does Zard get Tailwind this gen?
No.
It doesn't.
Oh.
Their Tailwind setter is Court Change.
You know, that's an option, I guess. Yeah, nothing with.
No, yeah. So, yeah, this is. I feel like prepping for this team is gonna be like try not to freeze dry challenge, difficulty level impossible. But like
bit,
it, you know, it's just okay. Like when I am not the hugest. Like when I draft my own teams, I try to stay away from repeat typings, not necessarily because of defensive overlap, although that is a problem if you have too much of it. I'd say like, you know, you can draft two mons of the same typing that share some weaknesses if they do very different things, which some of these do, to be fair. With Terra being an option, because even though you don't want to be forced into Terraing one of them, you still can, you know. But once you get to this many, where you have two grass types, three fire types, three water types, my issue becomes not only are you overlapping defensively a lot, which at that point you can only Terra one mon, but I think that the problem here is you're repeating so many typings so many times that you're also sacrificing offensive coverage. And like, yeah, that's the big thing to me. That's why I don't like to repeat typings much, because I'm like Mr. Oonga Boonga hyper offense. But you know, who am I to say? He's got great Tusk and Cinderace, so he has all this coverage he needs on those two mons realistically.
That's true. This team actually can work pretty well if you like.
Yeah.
Like, don't underestimate this kind of a comp, because like played at a high level, there are enough things here that can just kind of sweep you. Quickly.
I know what their speed control is. It's Scarf after you, Lilligant.
You know, if it gets the torch song off. But yeah, this mon does have a lot of mons that can spiral quickly. You know, things like Great Tusk, Skeletorge, Charizard, however you pronounce his name, Quaquaval, whatever.
Quaquaval, yeah, one of those.
I don't know either of those.
Ugly bitch duck.
Even. Like, those are all mons that, like, in the right position can just kind of run through a team.
Yeah.
So you do have to be really careful, because the offensive pieces this team does have are very threatening. It's just that, like, they would be significantly more threatening if, like, some of the typings weren't repeated and if there was a more cohesion to the team as a whole.
The other thing is, does this team just beat other weather teams? Like,
Oh yeah,
like it kind of just
absolutely
does. Like,
it kind of does, and it's so weird how it does it.
I
It
mean,
also just
prankster weather is always good for that. And the other thing is, we can't ignore the fact that they do have prankster sunny day. It's just,
they do have
it's
Strudel,
just
and
on Strudel, you know?
yeah, and like the problem is that then you have the question of, do I run Covert Cloak on my Strudel or do I run Eviolite on my Strudel?
or Sash.
Or Sash, yeah.
Yeah.
And it
So-
doesn't even get like fake out, so like something like Purloin or something. So it doesn't even
Oh,
like
God,
have as much
everything
presence
he
on the
wants to
field
have.
either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
I
I
guess
mean
for that
that we probably talked about that longer than we had to, but I do think this team is really funny. Like, and again, like it will probably get wins.
Yeah, it
Speaking
definitely
of
has
Sun,
the potential.
Here's the real Sun team.
yeah.
Who wants to start with this one? I started the last one. I mean, does anyone?
yours,
Okay,
right?
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, this has a bunch of stuff that I'm very familiar with. Okay, so this team, Torkel, Farigiraf, Scovillain, Earthworm, Gotharita, Bombardier, Garchomp, Luminion, Iron Hands, Mismagius, and Sawsbuck. Okay, this is a really good team, I think. I really like a lot of what this team has going on in terms of how it's going to kind of operate and work. So obviously Torkel, Scovillain is the sun stuff, right? What I like about this is that Scovillain can Rage Powder for Torkel, which lets you get off the eruptions better. Also, Torkel for Farigiraf is a really nice combo. Those two pair really well together because Farigiraf is I would argue maybe one of, if not the most consistent Trick Room setters available. It's really, 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 really good at getting up Trick Room because with Armor Tail plus Mental Herb, you have to be like double taunted to not get Trick Room up. So it's super consistent at that. And it has enough bulk to live almost anything you toss at it, especially if you run the right defenses. Earthworm's really, really good on this team. I like the Earthworm pairing with Garchomp with the Earth Eater ability. I think that's going to be really good. I do worry a little bit about opposing fire types into this team, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I do think that works well. I love Farigiraf Torkel. Iron Hands is like a core for a Trick Room mode. Like,
it's really good.
holy crap, is
Really
that a
scary.
Trick Room core? That is a brutally scary group of Pokemon to deal with that I think is really threatening. I like Mismagius as the ghost type on this team. It provides a lot of support, good special offensive output. It's a really good Terra Pokemon too. 105 speed is not bad at all for what it kind of wants to do. And I think that when you have something like Garchomp on your team, having more things immune to Earthquake is preferable. Luminion's one of the better value picks in its tier. The water typing is good. It's a Tailwind setter, which is nice. And Storm Drain is really good on this team. Very, very good on this team, actually, to have a Storm Drain user. That'll be really nice for it. And Sawsbuck is actually a Chlorophyll sweeper, and it's like a good one. Like, Sawsbuck can get calcs, guys. Like, it's just so this team has a lot of those things going for it. I think that's all really good. Gotharita's a pick I skipped over because now I'm going to go into stuff that I'm not as big a fan of. Gotharita's okay. It's a solid support Pokemon, you know, with Fake Out and Trick Room, and it's very bulky with Eviolite. Frisk is always really good. You already have Farigiraf, though, so, like, it feels a little redundant. I feel like you might have wanted to go for like I feel like a support mon is correct in that slot. You just might have wanted to go for like a faster support. I don't think it's really a detriment to the team though, and Gotharita will get usage even on a Farigiraf team in my opinion. My main thing with this team is I do worry a little bit about how Setting Sun does affect fire types into this team. Right? We were kind of joking about it a little bit, but like look at like an opposing Cinderace into this team, you know, with unboosted Pyro Ball. Because Scovillain has that grass fire typing. A lot of this team doesn't eat boosted fire moves the best, and that actually kind of devalues Earthworm a lot, which makes me sad because I think it's really cool. So I do actually worry a little bit about opposing fire coverage into this team. That's something I always like to tech when I play into Sun teams if they have that. But overall, this is a fantastic team. I really, really think this one is super solidly put together. It's definitely one of the more threatening teams I've seen so far today by a very wide margin. So really nice job, SF Paul. I really like what's going on here.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
now that I think about it, it's just like you did mention like the whole fire type thing and how Heatwave can be teched into this team. This is more of a general Sun team thing, but now that paradoxes are here, Sun is a lot less safe to run as a whole because you really don't want to boost stuff like Fluttermane or Roaring Moon, which are in this division. So like this is not really an issue with the team, but rather just be careful with how you use Sun because it could really hurt you more than it actually benefits you. Uh, I agree. Gothorita is a little bit redundant outside of Fake Out, and could have probably used like a faster support mon. Outside of that, I generally agree with what you've said as a whole. Wake.
Yeah. Again, like, yeah. I mean, you guys touched on pretty much the same stuff I would. I think that just the amount of like cool, like good lead options you have here: Torkoal Scovillain, Torkoal Sawsbuck, or Iron Hands Farigiraf, Torkoal Farigiraf, Orthworm Garchomp. Like all those are like really cool lead options, and I personally am a huge fan of teams that have really strong lead combos and stuff. Um, so I think that's really cool. I think some things on here like Bombardier, like you're probably not going to bring it very much, but it does things that nothing else on the team really does. Well, I mean, yeah, I suspect that if he's bringing Luminion, it's more for the Storm Drain and less for the Tailwind. I would presume well, I mean, it's faster. There's a case for both. Point is, there's not a whole lot of overlap here other than kind of Gothorita. But yeah, I'm a fan of this team. I think it's really good. I like Sawsbuck because it can be a chlorophyll mon, like a secondary one, but it doesn't have to be. Like 95 speed is fine enough on its own. So it doesn't need it. You also just have a lot of potential immunities on this team, like Earth Eater and Storm Drain and Sap Sipper. Like it's just really cool to have those kind of and Levitate. It's just kind of cool to have those kind of like trump card switch-ins that you can use. So I think it's really cool. Yeah, I like this team a lot.
This is a really, really cool team. I'm a huge fan of it. So
yeah.
I'm super excited for this one to get played.
All right. Next
definitely
up.
very good too.
Yeah. Next up is the Lake Erie Wishy-Washies.
I'll be taking this.
All right.
All right.
Dragapult, Rotomwash, Gardevoir, Salazzle, Primeape, Glalie, King Gambit, Crocodile, Jumpluff, Altaria, and Greedent. So like right off the bat, Dragapult is one of the most versatile Pokemon in the format. Can run physical, special, or support. Probably one of the most versatile Pokemon overall. Like right next to Iron Valiant. Fake Out immunity, and could just like straight up destroy teams with like Terra and like Choice Band and just spam Dragon Darts. Or like Terra Ghost. Just like Terra Ghost and spam Terra Blast. Like, it's just really good. Rotom Blast is it's a very good bulky water in like tier 2. It's got nice synergy with Dragapult being able to resist ice beams and such, although we can Terra anyway, so that doesn't matter as much. Rotom lost a little versatility with like Will-O-Wisp and it still has Will-O-Wisp, but it lost Electro Web. But it's still very versatile. Gardevoir is a good Trick Room setter on this team, but it can also do stuff outside of Trick Room with like Icy Wind sets, Scarf Icy Wind with like Trick or something. And it can even do like setup sets with like Calm Mind, and it has a lot of coverage, so it could do a multitude of things. Salazzle's it's a fast fake out option. It has like fake tears, so it can like fake tears.
I think it's the second fastest fake out in the format behind Weavile.
Yeah.
So that's worth noting.
Yeah, that's a fast fake out option. And can click fake tears next to like Rotom and Gardevoir, which I think is also very, very good to note. It's fire typing. Its fire typing supports Dragapult, Rotom, and Gardevoir extremely well. Primeape It's like Defiant for like Dragapult, but also you have another Defiant user down the line.
And your
But just
clear
like
body on
fine.
Dragapult.
Perhaps a fine tier 3. I don't know. You have like a lot of fighting types in the format, so like I feel like you could have done better, but this also is probably a late pick, so like it's just probably just like a filler pick just to have, and I think
A
that's
little
fine.
bit. Primeape's got some good usage on this team, but yeah.
Glalie
Yeah,
Frost Breath.
yeah, Glalie. Wait. Oh yeah,
That's really memey.
yeah.
I was thinking more
Frostbite.
about like, the Rage Fist stuff that it can do this gen, but yeah.
Yeah, I assume. I mean
can see it.
that to me stands out as like that is probably a reason it's here. I don't know how much
Well,
that comes,
I feel
but
like the Frost Breath is there for the Crocodile, but that was memey.
oh
Wait,
right, yeah, you
Because
right,
you
you
Frost
right.
Breath your Crocodile and then you click Earthquake and win.
but wait a minute. Frost Breath with like +6 on Anger Point, and then get +2 on Rage Fist. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, Glalie. Speaking of that, really, really good ice. Just a good support option as a whole. It's got
Inner
like
focus.
yeah, inner focus, icy wind. It's just good overall. It has like fake tears. It has screens. It has that. It has frost breath for stuff like Crook and Primeape. That's really good. King Gambit. I love King Gambit on this team. It supports Dragapult extremely well. It benefits from all the screen users on this team. Uh, if you didn't think you could run Intimidate into this team before, you definitely can't run Intimidate now. With speed control options like no, not Rotom. I almost said that. Glalie and like Gardevoir, it's a lot better. It's just a really good piece that mixes well with Dragapult. Crocodile is a I really like Crocodile in this team. It obviously has like frost breath stuff with Glalie, but it's like it's one of the only ground types in the format, and the fact that a team like this can get that, I think it really benefits. It can run like support sets with like Snarl, and I don't know what other support moves it gets. It gets like Bulldoze
It's
next to like
mostly an
Gardevoir.
off support, kind of like an Arcanine. You click Intimidate, you
Yeah.
get your Intimidate off, and then you click offensive attacks. But this one, actually, honestly, on this team, I think Crocodile is going to run Moxie a lot, which we'll get into when I talk, I guess.
Speaking of like Gardevoir, it could just like spam Earthquake next to it and just start blasting with Moxie. Uh, and it could also just start blasting next to Rotom too. Now that I think about it,
And Jump
uh,
Pluck.
and
It's actually throughout the team, yeah.
yeah, I really like Crocodile in this team. Like, sure, the Dark typing is like a little redundant, but like it's fine considering how many synergies Crocodile has on this team. Jump Love, having a Rage Powder option on this team is extremely good, and I don't think anybody should sleep on that option. Jump Love, as we've already mentioned, has an insane move pool outside of like Rage Powder and Tailwind. It has like screens, it has Sleep Powder. Uh,
I think it just gets reflect, right? I don't think it gets both. I
I
could
think
be
it gets
wrong.
both.
Am I wrong?
I
You
can
might
check.
be wrong.
I'll check real quick. But
Okay.
Jumpluff, yeah, it's also surprisingly bulky. People, I think, sleep on how bulky it is. No, it gets both screens this gen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it could even do like cool. I know nobody's gonna run this, but like Terraflying Acrobatics, okay, with like no
No,
item. It's gonna be
no,
fun.
bad. Toxic stop. Okay.
Okay, Altaria. Altaria is a little redundant on this team, but like it's a fine tier 4. It got like a lot of moves this gen. It's whatever. And Greedent is just like a general good fill-in mon to have on this team. You didn't really have like a clear trick room Pokemon. And you could like click Belly Drum next to Jump Bluff. It's fine. Overall, this team is very good. I like how everything synergizes with each other. I think I think you're gonna love flowcharting on this team.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, this team, if you like put like a poster in my room that was like, this is what draft teams look like, it would look like this. Like this is a like very like pretty overall, like, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but this is like a very like I checked this box off my team kind of a team. It's got really consistent good pieces throughout. I'm a big believer in the Primeape on this team, especially this gen. I think, like Dragapult, Rotom Wash, Gardevoir, King Gambit, Crocodile, like there's just a lot of reliability with these Pokemon that not all teams have. And they all work well together too, which helps. I mean, Salazzle is really good next to everything on this team. Gardevoir is fantastic support and offensive on this team. Rotom is the same. There's a lot of plug and play with this team, which I really like. You can really tailor this team to the matchup really nicely, which I think is really good. I'd say kind of just offhand the biggest thing I'm seeing, TR is a little bit of an issue, just a little bit. It's not huge, but this team doesn't have the most incredible TR answers. I mean, Gardevoir in Prison is good. And Greedent obviously can like belly drum in it next to like a jump pluff or whatever. And King Gambit actually is pretty good at shutting down TR modes in my opinion. So like it can handle it. It's just not something. I don't think this team is going to set Trick Room very much. I do think it will have to play against other people wanting to though. Maybe. Yeah, it's overall a really like well put together, well defined comp. I think there's like a couple things that feel a little off here and there. Just like a few typings and a few like frost weaknesses that feel a little bad. But like I'm kind of sitting here going, but a lot of those things can be terra'd around really easily on this team. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things on this team can Terra into other types to get around those kind of issues, or even just Terra into one of their other types. Because this team also did a really cool thing where almost every single Pokemon has a good secondary type. So like you can Terra into the same type on this team with most of the team and benefit from it, which I think is really good for a team offensively. This team really benefits offensively from Terra a lot because not all of the attacking stats on here are like the greatest of all time. So being able to do that's going to help out a lot. So yeah, super excited. I think this team is obviously good with a couple tiny things, but like I think they're very negligible. This is going to be a very strong team to play against.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you guys really went deep on this one. I really don't have much else to say other than that. I think you guys
We kind of went crazy.
Yeah. You guys hit the nail on the head on that one. Yeah, I mean just a super good like very stereotypical like Ryan said like oh man, what? Oh, my dock like reloaded. That's weird. Okay. Well, it's back.
Excel moment.
True. But like, like the fantasy core especially to me is just such a typical like Dragapult,
Yeah.
Gardevoir, King Gambit. Like that just feels like such a typical type of fantasy
Draft
core,
league.
you know.
Yeah, draft league. Like I'm drafting my team core. Yeah.
Yeah, and but that's like a good thing. Like that means it's strong and they synergize well together.
It's basic for a reason.
Yeah, that's what I always say whenever someone says like I don't want to be basic. I always just put basic equals good, because that's literally true. Anyway, I will start with the next team since I didn't have too much to say about the last one. All right, so this is Yasha, the MK Mimikyus. He's got Goldengo, Tauros Aqua, Screamtail, Weavile, Appleton, Knacklestack, Volcarona, Sandy Shocks, Oricorio, Ditto, and Blissey. So this is another like relatively unorthodox team in my opinion. I think that the like compare this to the last team and it looks like it's a night and day difference in terms of how it's constructed, but there are still some similarities, and there's still, I mean, obviously there's very good stuff here. I think Goldengo is supported pretty well by Screamtail. I think you can set screens, and you can... Screamtail gets fake tears? No, it doesn't. Or does it?
It does.
Okay, it does. Okay, I don't know why I was thinking it doesn't. Yeah, it does. So, like, that's a really cool lead. You have the fastest fake out. Which in hindsight we maybe should have moved Weavile up a tier. I kind of didn't think that it was. It's probably fine. It's probably fine here.
It paid off.
But I mean, just like I really like the defensive synergy between like Goldengo and Appleton and Volcarona. Like I know that's kind of a weird like a not a non-standard type of core, but like they cover each other on switch in really well. Um, Same with like Goldengo, Tauros, Aqua. Like just like the defensive synergy amongst the whole team is just super solid. It's less of a. It seems like at least on the surface level, less of a core based kind of like defensive synergy on this team, and more of just like generally the whole team has good synergy. Oricorio, I'm really interested in. I It was kind of a big call for us to put all the forms together. So I'm really interested to see like maybe that was too much and they need to be separate, or maybe it's fine there. Like I'm really interested to see Oricorio. And obviously there's the very obvious Oricorio Volcarona lead with Quiver Dance and Fiery Dance and all
It's
that.
gonna be very cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm not super sold on like Blissey here. Like it's whatever. It's definitely not the worst tier 4. Knuckle Stack is cool because it still gets like wide guard, and I think I gotta look at its bulk. Hold on. I assume its bulk is good enough for Eviolite. 60, 165, that's fine. Yeah, like that's good. That's very good physical bulk for Eviolite.
Yeah, especially with Eviolite body press. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
That's some good damage output too.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, like I just think I don't have a ton to say in terms of like synergy. I just think that like defensively everything here makes sense, and then you have like your at like everything's just super splashable with each other if that makes sense. Like almost everything here can lead next to anything else. What do you guys think?
Uh, all right. I I generally agree with everything you said. Like it, I actually like a lot of the pieces on this team. I like individually, but together I think they work very well. Like you have amazing speed control options and like Weavile, Volcarona. Just I don't know if Sandy Shocks gets Electro Web. I
It
don't think it
doesn't.
does.
It doesn't.
Man, they gotta stop doing this to us. Anyway, uh, all and like, despite like all the good speed control options, every I feel like every mod on this team can like hold their own like offensively outside of Blissey. Like Goldingo is insanely powerful. So is Tauros. Screamtail is fine. It can like get rid of sashes and stuff for the rest of the team. Appleton is like decently powerful with like Iron Defense body press sets. Even Knuckle Stack can do Iron Defense body press. Volcarona is insanely powerful, so is Sandy Shocks. Oricorio can do some cool stuff with Volcarona. Like this team, I really like all the stuff it could do and like all the synergies it has and speed control options. It's very, very solid.
Yeah, this team's very like unconventional, but in a fun way. I really like what this team has going on throughout it. I do worry a little bit about like just like random things into this team, right? Like I'm kind of looking at Volcarona, Sandy, Shock, Skuldango, and going, I don't know how I feel about that into certain leads. You know, like there's a little bit of that element to this team, but like everything should work together pretty well. I love. No one's really touched on it. I actually really like the Tauros Aqua on this team.
Mm-hmm.
It is a necessary and incredible glue piece for this team. This team really needed that Pokemon, I think, to let everything kind of mesh together pretty well. Um, this team can do okay in Trick Room. Appleton's actually just very good in Trick Room. This team isn't a team that will set Trick Room very often, but it's a little scary to. It has good tools to oppose. Ditto is a mod I feel really weird about. Like, unless you're like playing someone who keeps setting up every week or has Dondozo or something, I don't think Ditto's that excellent in these formats, personally. It definitely has its usage, and I think that this being the first non-max season with Ditto, I'm curious to see the performance. Like, it's a mon I definitely want to see get usage, but I'm not like sold on it being incredible. Blissey can work okay on this team. I think Blissey's a very annoying Pokemon. I usually advocate for that thing to be in a higher tier, because it does have some good tools. You know, it's a solid special attacker. It's got excellent coverage, and when you combine that with the fact that You have a Tauros here that can kind of intimidate stuff to make up for its literal, just one of the worst defense stats of all times kind of stuff. I think that's good. I think Knucklestack is a really good find for value on the tier list. And Sandy Shocks is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting Paradox mons. I
Hard
actually
agree.
think I saw recently in like a tournament that it was getting some usage and getting some okay results. So I am very, very, very excited specifically for that mon to kind of do its thing. I think that's pretty much it for me, though, on this team. Really solid. I like it.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that it?
I think it
Wow.
is. For tonight,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Well, that being said, thank you to the two of you, and as well as Dan, who was here earlier, for doing this with me. I will be in touch with everyone as soon as I can as soon as I can hammer down a date to do the rest. I'm really sorry about rescheduling, but again, this took us 3 hours, and we would probably be here at least another 3. And
Don't
so,
worry, Gyarados Division. We'll get them next time.
um, and the concern there is either we do them very quickly and they aren't very good quality, or we do them full length and they're still not good quality by the end because I'm already sleep deprived. So, that being said, again, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be posted on my channel. And yeah, thanks to the two of you again, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right.